Radio.com.
At the Rib Shack Smokehouse, you have the best of both worlds, barbecue and soul food. We're open Tuesday through Thursday from 11 to 9 p.m., Friday and Saturday from 11 to 10, and on Sundays from noon to 8 p.m. Let us cater your next event or dine in and enjoy our delicious ribs, fried catfish, collard greens, and so much more. Don't feel like leaving the house? Then get your food delivered through DoorDash or call for takeout orders at 402-502-6695. Welcome to the Rib Shack.
Tired of having a website that doesn't reflect the quality of your brand? At JM Online, we specialize in custom websites for unique business needs. Your website should be more than just a digital billboard. It should be a powerful tool that grows your business. Awarded Omaha's best web developers in 2023, we're dedicated to local business success. So if you're ready to take your website to the next level, go to jmonline.com and request a call.
Make the right call, fans. The Rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard.
Rooferees. 1620 The Zone.
Petrangelo, forward pass, connects with Stevenson, charges into the zone. Drop back for Howden. Extra pass. Stone shooting. He scores. 2 goals for Stone. 5-1 Knights. Into the right circle. Bennett looking cross-ice. Stone intercepts. This time he sends it down in a walk ball and go into the goal. It's a hat trick in the clincher. Mark Stone, the captain, makes it 8-3 Golden Knights with 6 minutes to go in the third period. The Golden Knights are going to make that dream a reality. A devotion to destiny. Misfits to champions. The Vegas Golden Knights win the Stanley Cup in 2023. The first Stanley Cup championship in Golden Knights history comes in their 6th season. The Silver State is home to the greatest silver trophy in all of sports.
Live from 50th and Capitol Avenue in the Big O. This is Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone. 1620thezone.com and 1620 The Zone TV. Now here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy.
I just got 3 things to say. God bless our troops. God bless America. And gentlemen, start your engine!
That was a solid call.
I liked it.
Yeah, to wrap up the NHL season, that was a really good,
nothing morbid.
Yeah, not oh, yeah, that's true.
They had time to prepare for it.
Yeah, definitely. 9-3 last night. Vegas wins the cup, but that was nice and it wasn't. It was nice and calm, and it wasn't like, oh my gosh, second year. In the 6th year they win the cup. We didn't get it in year 2, but we got it in year 6. I really like that call.
Yeah.
That was nicely done to celebrate Vegas skating the cup last night. I don't know what you do in a town that is going 24/7 and parties all the time. Does it make a dent if the local team wins the Stanley Cup and it affects the partying scene in Vegas last night?
There's a Denny's on the strip.
I think it just amps it up a bit. Yeah. I think people that were visiting
hit up In and Out at about 4 a.m.
that had no idea what was going on. They probably just saw a lot more Vegas night sweaters rolling around out in the streets. A little bit more, a little bit more pep in their step.
Well, they're super popular there. It is an experience to go to games, and unfortunately, it's a tough ticket. I mean, it's an expensive ticket. They put on a Vegas show during the game, before the game, after the
pregame is amazing.
But the tickets are hard to get, and they're expensive. I imagine that won't change after last night. But they won 9-3, so they absolutely clubbed Florida, and their performance winning in 5 is much more dominating than the Nuggets' performance in 5. And that's saying a lot because the Nuggets hammered the Heat. But I wonder, when you are in a town that is known for partying, what do you do last night? Where do you go? Because where T-Mobile is, it kind of just filters out onto the strip.
Mm-hmm.
New
York's next door.
If you were sitting at, I don't know, if you're sitting down, not in New York, no, but a little bit further down on the strip. Let's say you're at the Bellagio. Do you notice people are marching down Tropicana Boulevard to celebrate?
Not as much, no. I wouldn't think so. Like a lot of those NHL venues, you see it. I wouldn't say even 50% of them. Like the one I'm most familiar with in the United Center, there's really not a lot of. I mean, there's not a lot by the United Center compared to like what Wrigleyville is, and hell, even Soldier Field.
Some people would tell you there's a lot of crime, but
that's over
Afghanistan.
there. That's over there. But you see some of those like courtyard areas where people gather. Kind of the spill out or the overflow crowd, and so you keep the party going there. You got beer kiosks and what have you, but they didn't really have that. I mean, you have Sin City at your disposal, so you would think it'd be a great post game, be a great party, and be able to live it up in Vegas. But yeah, it probably blends in really nicely. I don't know if there's like one gathering spot outside T-Mobile Center. They're just like
another night in Vegas.
I go to defense of the Vegas hockey fan. So I've been out there during hockey season, and they are very passionate and knowledgeable. And they got the AHL team is right there in Henderson. Like they know their hockey and they like their hockey because that market gets knocked.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't think the A's are going to work there. But hockey, because they were first in, and by the way, they're not the first to win a championship. Kudos to the Aces. But they were in the Stanley Cup in year one, where everything is shifted towards doing really well, expansion draft, no salary cap implications, all of that stuff. I think this is more impressive of a run, not only coincides with the Cup, but they had to kind of invent themselves a little bit. But they were first in, the first professional franchise. It's unique in hockey. The Raiders, the Raiders aren't winning, but the hockey, Vegas is a good hockey city. I know people were knocking, hey, long-suffering Golden Knight fans.
The curse is over.
Not their fault they won it in 6, but it's actually turned into a really good, knowledgeable hockey town where, like, if you listen to some sports talk, and it's not just like the betting sports talk, it's regular Las Vegas-based sports talk, they know their hockey, so good for them. That's a good market. The NHL hit a home run, and the NHL needed Vegas to work, and it has more than worked when you have 2 trips to the finals in 6 years, and now you got the Cup and a lot of babies that got put in the Cup last night in the celebration.
It's interesting because, when we thought of Vegas just initially, like, how is this going to work? And as being the first professional franchise there, to see how people would embrace it, an event, there's a difference between being event-driven and actually embracing it to where you become a major fan. But you think of the amount of transplants that either spend a lot of time in Vegas or end up living in Vegas. They all come from different sports backgrounds. They come from different sports markets. And so it doesn't surprise me now that we're kind of looking back that, and you can always tell by the venue. If you watch the postseason and you see how not only amped up everybody is, but how they really do embrace it. And when you watch the regular season too, they draw so well. And you're right, they do. They put on a different show.
Because they have to.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they embrace who they are.
And you should.
Which is good.
You absolutely should. But make no mistake about it, like to your point about just being a knowledgeable hockey fan, I think, there's definitely a lot more of them than maybe what we initially thought, where it'd be like, oh, this is just going to be a bunch of people that are same thing as when you go to Vegas to check out a show if you want to. You're going to check out a show. You're going to check out a show on ice. You're going to watch Vegas. Now, there's a lot of hockey passion there. Maybe it does have something to do with being, so prideful that a lot of people said maybe it wouldn't work, or that, what do you guys know about hockey? I don't know what the case is, but I think a lot of it also has to do with a lot of transplants throughout the country too.
That was pretty cool last night. I mean, they were really, really good. Now, my question though is back to the babies. So you have the celebration, and it's the great celebration because it's the hardest trophy to win, 16 wins. You hand it to somebody in a stinky uniform, not somebody in a suit. So that, first of all, you win points there. But then as every guy gets to skate the cup, and it's everybody in the organization, which is really, really cool. Like if you're the third media relations person, you get to lift the cup, which is pretty cool, and it's a hell of a tradition. But I noticed as more pictures I was looking at this morning, there are a lot of babies. So is it hockey players having lots of sex? Because it was like young babies that everybody was putting in the cup to take a picture of. The Dodgers just had a stretch where they had like 4 guys, like within a week, had to go on paternity leave. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, okay. Let's see if I do the math. Maybe that all-star break last year.
Yeah.
Yep.
So what is it with the hockey players? Because they had an abundance of like infants, not hey, 6-year-old Amanda, come over here. I'm going to put you in the cup.
Yeah, so
it was like the toddlers, and I'm like, wow.
we're 3 years removed from the bubble. I'm trying to see if somehow they can match it
like
up.
right before training camp last fall, the Golden Knight players were like, well, I got the season coming up.
I got to start adulting.
I don't want to ruin my stamina during the season,
Yeah.
so let's get it out of the way.
Take care of business.
Yep.
I mean, how cool would that be? Like, you grow up and you see pictures in your house of you were when you had no idea what was going on. We're placed in the Stanley Cup.
I mean, Jimmy, you alluded to it. You're not totally off there, though. During COVID, I mean,
got done with the bubble.
You're looking at about
reacquainted
you're looking at about
yourself.
2-year-olds right now during COVID.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think the COVID baby was a thing. Our son's a COVID baby. He's 2.5, a little over 2.5.
Now you got a Mexico BB on the way. Pretty cool.
All right. After that fourth margarita.
Welcome in, everybody. This is Mornings with Sharp and Handley on
Ask my wife how her
1620
tummy's
Zone. Coming up a little bit later, tomorrow is the start of the U.S. Open at the L.A. Country Club, which will decide our national champion. Yeah. It is a very, very difficult course. Matt Rudy will join us coming up at 8:30. Kirk Sarlos, who's the head baseball coach at TCU, they are on a heck of a run. They will be here for the College World Series, and he is back. He was an assistant under Jim Schlossnagle, and when Schlossnagle went to Texas A&M, they promoted Kirk Sarlos, who is a great pitching coach. And TCU got off to a slow start this year, but they have won 11 in a row. They're 17-1 in their last 18. They haven't lost in the postseason, and he'll stop by at 9:15. And then Brandon Vogel is in at 9:40. So with last night in Vegas, and that game was over right away. So it's 9-3, which is, I mean, if you're Florida, it's probably inevitable. You don't have one of your best players. He's out with a broken sternum.
Mm.
I mean,
And the fact that he could have played possibly.
Kachuk, this is hockey. You need to play.
Broken sternum.
So the NHL and the NBA season is over. I have determined that anytime I'm feeling down, and I'm not really, some years when the NBA and the NHL are over, and in this case, back-to-back days, some people are like a little bit somber. But for the NBA, they're already on to the draft and then, of course, free agency. But I have determined, after just listening to all kinds of Nugget stuff yesterday, if I am ever feeling down or need a laugh, because sitting in the parking lot today before I came into the station, for I believe the 35th time, I have watched the Jokic post-game press conference, the question about the parade. When is parade?
Yeah.
That's all. I cannot stop laughing at his question to the PR rep.
Just wants to go home.
When is parade? Because we can all relate. Like the end of a day, a long day, you slap your face and you're like, oh, I just want to go home.
And then you got the company outing coming up in a couple of days.
Oh, it's
like, no,
it's fantastic. I just can't stop laughing because it's just like, it's so him and it's so relatable.
Do I
for
have
a
to
lot
go?
of us.
You have to go.
Now I want to see, we got to have the horse race on Sunday in Serbia. It has to be streamed somewhere, correct?
Yeah. It's now become a lot more popular. Yeah, it better be. Throw some money down on that too.
Yeah, I was going to say, is there anything on FanDuel for it?
Yeah.
Promo code zone.
Because now that we know why Nikola Jokic would actually
When is
consider
parade?
missing.
When is parade? You know what they should do? They should have two parades. They should actually have a parade in Serbia. Couldn't they fly the entire Nugget team over there? Like the town he lives in. So Serbia is what, 7 million? Yeah, it's a little bit larger than the Chicagoland area.
Mm-hmm.
Kroenke's got money. He can pay for them.
I think the town that he lives in is like 50,000. So it's not large, but there's probably something to do.
It's a community.
They should have a parade. They should fly the Nuggets over to Serbia and have a parade over there as well.
Ed Foley can show up randomly.
At the very least, I feel he will have one. Not because he wants it, but they'll
celebrate him.
They will, they will celebrate him.
What does a one-man Jokic party look like?
Well,
and feel like?
He's a large guy, so
Well, the brothers would be in tow, so you'd have three.
Yep,
you'd
you'd
have
have
be
them
the
there.
three of them, and yeah.
Yep. And maybe remember we talked about him riding the horse during the parade. He gets to ride the horse. Yeah, that's what it looked like. And they'd all just be kind of surrounding him, like he's a war hero. Like just got back in. They're like, ah.
Or do you think he's in the parade with his horse, like he's in the harness racing, or he's in the little cart with the
get up. That would, oh God. Again,
So
go
on
back to the
brand.
visual, and the size of him would be amazing if that was the case.
When is parade?
He was so
Hey,
disappointed. When he
is
found
tomorrow.
out what it was, he was so disappointed.
Yeah, so much that I was looking for like a T-shirt yesterday. I was like, I'm not in the T-shirt game, man. When is parade? Could be on a T-shirt. Now the T-shirt doesn't talk, so you wouldn't have the accent. But when is parade? Oh, yeah, I could have retired probably yesterday if I would have gotten that together and sold it in Denver.
Yeah, you get a little Nuggets World Champions logo, and then either on the back of it or just a small little logo, just on the front, just says "When is parade?"
When is parade?
That's brilliant.
I think it'd be awesome. I would buy that.
So we should all respond to people today.
Not
When
even a Nuggets fan, but I'm a fan of that.
Nikki stopped me in the hallway and she goes, "Good morning. When is parade?" She just stared at me. I'm like,
What?
Not a Nuggets fan. All right, welcome in, everybody. That lineup brought to you by the referees of John Higgins Weather Guard. There's Nick, Jimmy, Gary. We're a day closer to the College World Series. This is the day that a lot of teams start to arrive, and a lot of our fellow media members that will make their way into Omaha.
Hear the Bruce Springsteen from here.
This is the day a lot of them are unavailable. The media members are unavailable.
The Bruce Springsteen. You can hear it all the sports writers coming.
Could you
Surprised
elaborate?
you're not with me on
Could
that.
you elaborate?
Well, no, because I think this is different. So the college baseball media a little bit different than the national media. I don't just looking at places where they're coming from. I don't think we're going to get the Springsteen narrative.
Huh.
Yeah.
Again, learning experience. My first one.
Yeah, this is if you've.
Yeah,
I know you've been.
We don't have a lot of. There's not a lot of national media that come to cover the College World Series.
No,
that's too bad. I feel like there used to be.
Yeah, when there used to be newspapers.
Yeah,
that's very, very
Just
true.
Different conversation, but yeah.
I know you've been working hard on getting the college baseball guests. Today's like the day that is like pulling teeth because they're all traveling.
Yeah, I was surprised you were able to get Kirk on.
Today's the travel day, especially for the for our friends at like D1 baseball. And there was a time we used to use Baseball America, not so much as anymore, but yeah. D1 baseball kind of monopolizes it, but yeah, this is when they're all like traveling. So, my flight's at this time. What time can you have? So, you just Wednesday's a push. Wednesdays, let them travel, let them settle in, and then you forget what day it is. It's good stuff.
All right, as we mentioned, Kirk Sarlos from TCU is coming up a little bit later. They will get the party started first on Friday when they take on Oral Roberts at 1. You can hear all the games right here on the Zone, all the shows from Baseball Village, which is bursting with activity. Now, yesterday was a busy day down there because all the delivery trucks. So, like, good luck if you tried to drive around the ballpark yesterday because everybody was making their deliveries yesterday. Look, the beer guys, like Brian and other people that religiously listen to this, they were very, very busy unloading.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Tuesday was the day for that, huh?
Uh-huh.
Stock up, load up. Thursday, remember we were talking about the opening ceremonies? There was a time that even you had to be pretty prepped when it came to that for the Thursday because you had not only the concert, but you had the fireworks too. Like that got
it was
a
like
lot
a
of
night
people.
thing.
Yeah, it was a cool little celebration. It's just so subdued now.
So yesterday, I told everybody that they don't have an opening ceremonies anymore. It was basically the coaches. Like every team that is here, they ask them, like an exit survey when they get back, middle of the summer. Hey, what do you think about your experience, the College World Series, the setup, all of that stuff? Like it was a resounding too much for the opening ceremonies. It takes too much of our day. We got to play the next day for some of us because it's a long day because they practice, then they got to go back to the hotel, shower, get dressed. They also have a cookout for them.
Mm-hmm.
So like the coaches basically said, hey, that's just way too much. Like way, way too much. And that's one of also the reasons, and ironically, because yesterday was the 4-year anniversary of the Tigers and the Royals playing here.
Yep.
Now, there are a lot of reasons
That's right,
why Major League Baseball will never come back here.
I forgot about that.
But it was like a lot of the coaches that day, it was such like a long day because they included all the teams with that game that was played.
Mm-hmm.
And the coaches that year was like, man, that's a long day for our guys. They're on their feet. It's hot out. So if you want to blame anybody, blame the coaches. If you want to blame that we have lost that really cool tradition of autographs, blame COVID.
Yeah. Well, but it makes sense.
Don't blame us.
When you think about the coaches and looking out for their players, knowing that, especially those first couple of days, I mean, it's a whirlwind. You're getting situated at where you're going to be practicing, all of the different, media availability, the press conference, then the open practice. I mean, there's a lot in that first 48 hours. I understand that. The thing, though, that I feel like you could still have is that College World Series doesn't even need to be a part of the teams at night, is have, the concert and don't even call them opening ceremonies, just the opening celebration where you have mentions of the teams, they're represented with their flags and whatnot, but they don't need to be parade. They're doing the Olympic style parade coming into the field. You don't need to do that.
But then then is it called opening ceremony?
That's why I said you call it like an opening celebration or the kickoff to the College World Series kickoff concert.
I think I'm good with no opening ceremony.
Yeah, I don't think you have to do it, but the night before, if you still kind of miss a little bit of that prime time sort of welcome to the greatest show on dirt.
Maybe the fan bases themselves have their own opening ceremony.
I'm sure. Well, depending on the fan bases, I'm sure they do.
I don't know. I think you have to have the teams there, which is unfortunate. Because there were a lot of people that went that would never go to the College World Series, but would go to that.
Yeah, because it was free.
All right. 6:28. Lots to discuss, of course, College World Series. Because I got involved in a conversation with an outsider yesterday. And their take on Omaha and questions they asked are kind of okay, but kind of interesting. Nebraska made Rob Childress and Mike Sirianni official. Jordy Ball might be official today to Nebraska. In her movement, she is the Jalen Hurts, the Caitlin Horde of college athletics.
I like the Jalen Hurts one.
Yeah, it's like a big time move. In the transfer portal. So that could be official today. She was kicking the tires yesterday. Also, Nebraska football did something interesting yesterday on campus and with their recruiting that they keep promises. I will say that. When they say they're going to do something, they do something. Plus, last night in Oakland, what a scene. They had a reverse boycott. 27,000 people showed up for the hottest team in baseball. The A's have now won 7 in a row.
For one night, it was like the old days.
It was great. It was. I wish they would do it a couple of more times this year, but it's like great, but then it's kind of sad because they ain't staying in Oakland.
And you're giving that guy money and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, his fellow owners in the league bailed him out. But there's a lot of things that are going on in Oakland. But for one night, that was really, really cool. That was well orchestrated what the fans did last night. Because they had the reverse boycott. They were chanting, sell the team. It was a raucous atmosphere. And then in the 5th inning, did you guys see what they did in the 5th?
No.
And that's why I said it's well orchestrated, is the first batter of the 5th inning, there had been 4 innings of just nonstop noise. Like you were at a baseball game in Japan or you were at a postseason college baseball game where there's just a lot of noise and chants and stuff like that. So you'd done that for 4 innings. The first batter in the 5th, complete silence in the ballpark. Nobody said anything. And then the next batter, it was sell the team. And it was like overwhelming on the television broadcast.
That is impressive. I wasn't skeptical that they would be able to get, maybe 15 plus in there. But to get at the tune of 27,000.
I thought they would.
But then to orchestrate like that.
The rest of it is.
That's impressive. I got to say, tip of the cap there. That's cool. Because, hey, if anybody deserves to have a little fun and vent in their own way, it's A's fans for sure.
I feel bad. It's a terrible stadium that still got cobwebs in the dugout, as was shown on TV last night, and sewer issues. It might even be a bad market. You've had the Warriors, the Raiders, and the A's have all moved out of there. But those fans, they are so passionate, and they have gotten nothing in return. And now their owner is going to get rewarded, and he's going to go to Vegas, and he's going to get a nice new stadium. They're getting rewarded. Not, hey, you're a bad owner that hasn't even attempted to work with the city to find a location, and you're not spending money on your team, and you're not doing anything with the current stadium, but yet you're going to get a pass.
Yeah, you're a slumlord.
See, it was cool last night. But I think that's bad. That's a bad look for baseball. Just a really bad look for baseball. As us as fans, owners, they could care less. They're like, man, we need to get into that Vegas market.
Yep.
Oakland is dying market. We need to get into Vegas. And so they celebrate it when that's like sad. That's really, really sad. And for those people that, that they don't hold anything against the players. It's all about an owner who is kind of a Johnny-come-lately. I don't know that was great for baseball last night. Great for A's fans. Great for the team. They won 7 in a row, and they're not the worst team in baseball. But I think for the game, it's not good.
The amount of sort of grief you feel for him too. I think last night again is your chance to sort of vent, but you made me think a little bit about how Major League Baseball is really celebrating that move and being in the Vegas market, and you see a lot of positive headlines. If I am a long-suffering fan in Oakland and you see that, I don't know how you can block it out because it's constantly being talked about, especially in that market now because your days are numbered. How that must feel. And then when you show up last night.
And you're going to a place that isn't going to work.
Right.
Major League Baseball isn't going to work in Vegas.
I don't think so either.
It's
for all the good stuff you were saying about hockey, I think it's going to be kind of the opposite for baseball.
Well, it's completely different. Like
a lot of games.
I will go. So, it's half of what the Major League season is. For hockey, so you're playing 41 home games.
Mm-hmm.
People from those areas that have an NHL team, it's like a trip to Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm going to Vegas this year when the Chiefs play out there. Look at the Roomba. There have been a lot of visiting fans. Like that's their trip.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're asking for 81 games in a place where, it's going to be all about the locals. They can get away in the NHL and the NFL with not full, the building's always full with locals.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do that in Major League Baseball. And also they're the third team in.
Yeah.
And you're right. There's 162 games of that season.
Yeah. When
you don't go to Vegas to go to baseball.
No.
Like people that are in Vegas that are there for a trip and maybe it's not sports related. You're sitting there going, oh, the Golden Knights are home tonight. I think I'm going to go. Because I just don't see that happening with the A's.
Yeah, I looked into it when we played out there a couple of years ago, or I guess, yeah.
Well, it's a rare opportunity when you think of hockey, and there's limited opportunities, but also the type of show. This is where hockey and baseball are obviously very, very different, but the type of show that you put on top of the actual competition itself. Baseball, we know baseball to be exactly what it is. And I don't know how Vegas can sort of Vegas it up, but for that many games as well. Limited opportunities is one thing, but when you have that many home games and you're, like you said, you're relying on your local fan base, you're relying on your residents to be able to sort of generate that type of support. That's a big ask. That is a really big ask. So we'll see. But I'm skeptical on that one too, just because of the amount.
You know who has to probably suffer is UNLV.
Mm-hmm.
UNLV hasn't been anywhere near what they were with Tark, and they've got to put on a show. But they were like the first to put on a show.
Yeah,
man. It's like NBA stuff back then.
Yeah, UNLV basketball has to be. I mean, the Thomas and Mack Center is a little bit older. But UNLV basketball has to be start to be pushed down in the entertainment scene in that town. For sure. If you got some expendable income, are you going to now an NHL Stanley Cup champion? You're going to go to the Raiders, or are you going to continue to support the team that's been with you the longest time in your local college in UNLV?
Yeah, they've kind of gotten pushed aside.
And the NBA is looking at expanding there. The next round of expansion, Seattle and Vegas seem to be the top two markets that are going to get teams. So,
yeah, baseball. There are just certain things that I think will grab the attention of your common fan in Vegas. And I think baseball, there's just too much of it.
Well, he's going to get bailed out, and that's unfortunate. But for one night last night, that was really, really cool out in Oakland. All right, off and running. Good lineup for you on the middle of the week of the kickoff to the College World Series. There's Nick, Jimmy, I'm Gary. Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com with Gary Sharp and Nick Handley. Omaha's most listened to all sports radio station. Again and again and again. 1620 The Zone.
Fun fact, did you know gorillas burp when they're happy? Really? I'm glad humans don't have that issue, as it would create some awkward moments. Dave and Ryan Osted here with Osted's Golf. Looking for your happiness on the course? Book your fitting appointment today with Osted's, the nation's top 100 fitter from Callaway, Ping, Mizuno, and Golf Digest. Why get fit? On average, golfers gain 19 yards off the tee and drop their handicap by 10%. Wow, results like that will make any golfer happy. Stop in today or book your appointment on Osteds.com. All burps will be taken as a compliment.
You never know who might be hiding a problem with sports betting, because it can affect anyone. Dads, moms, teachers, lawyers, blue collar, white collar, PhDs, community heroes. But there's one thing we want you to know. It doesn't matter who you are. What does matter is getting help. Contact 1-800-BETS-OFF. No judgment, just help. Be number one at getting help.
Brought to you by the Iowa Department of Public Health and Heartland Family Service.
Ray Magliozzi here for eBay Motors. Okay, easy now. You're teaching your kid how to parallel park. Ouch! Turns out he likes to do it by feel. Don't worry, eBay Motors has bumpers, trunk lids, license plate holders, and headlights. They've got lots of headlights. When you need parts, get it right the first time with eBay Guaranteed Fit. When you see the check, you know that part's going to fit. eBay Motors. Let's ride. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Meet Joe A, Joe B, and Joe C.
What's up?
3 everyday Joes perfecting their banking with Chase. Joe A is locking his lost debit card with the Chase mobile app. Joe B is cruising toward his new ride with autosave. And Joe C's Chase banker is helping him budget to go back to school. Tools that help protect. Support for what's next. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase. Make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Messaging and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right. Get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/radio. That's 4hims.com/radio for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
Car repair is car repair. Most places you go can change your oil or fix your brakes. The difference is the experience you'll get at Omaha Car Care. We're part of the community. We were born here, and we believe that our relationship with you should be built to last. We're going to consult you, not sell you. We're going to give you a free loaner car. We're going to treat you like a valued friend that we want to continue to see in the years to come. I'm Rick Betker, owner of Omaha Car Care, and we'll be along for the ride.
Nick Handley here for my friends at DJ's Dugout. Everyone at DJ's Dugout says welcome to Omaha baseball fans. June is a fun and exciting month in Omaha, and we welcome all the college baseball teams, little league teams, and visitors here in town. DJ's can accommodate teams in large groups. Omaha is known for getting a good burger, and DJ's fresh, never frozen half-pound Angus beef burgers are absolutely delicious. DJ's is locally and Vietnam veteran-owned. Dig in at the Dugout.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
All right, happy Flag Day to all who celebrate.
Surprised we didn't get the day off.
It's a big day.
It's your old job. Didn't you guys get Flag Day off? like you guys got all kinds of holidays off.
We did. And so we always joked, my old program director, when we were going over like the new holidays, and I stopped and I'm like,
wait, did you just say you got it off?
We didn't get Flag Day.
Oh, I was,
but we got some off we were like told to, you can't bank it. You need to take this day off. when I saw the new holiday schedule and I saw Good Friday, I looked at him and said, this is applying to us too? He goes, oh yeah. He goes, that's what you get from a good old Southern company, old Southern boys. I was like, well, I'm not going to complain, and they were adamant. Like before, like on Martin Luther King Day, we would work because, you're in the heart of college basketball season, a lot going on. And so we would typically bank it. But then when we were under a different company, they were like, nope, you need to make sure that they are off that day.
Jimmy,
no option to bank that.
Jimmy, get on. We're owned by a company in Cedar Rapids, and they are fantastic to us. Man, they need a little Southern hospitality in that company, that NRG in Cedar Rapids.
Can we get Good Friday off?
Good Friday, Flag Day. Okay, got it. Take a list and
Can we get
run it up the
President's Day off?
flagpole. And
who does take?
We did not get President's Day off, though.
Really?
Shockingly.
Well, you did.
Oh, I'm sorry, George Washington's birthday.
No, I think you did.
No, we didn't.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm positive.
Like if there was a Republican in the White House, you didn't get off?
That's what I was thinking. Especially in the years before you came here.
You ever want to know which side of the aisle
That's
your
true.
company is leaning?
That is true.
Democrat in the White House, Biden's in the White House. You guys ain't getting it off this week.
In fact, we're going to need you to work overtime.
All right, welcome back in. So we talked yesterday a lot about Jordy Ball going into the portal, and there could be a closure and an announcement possibly today, but it's gonna happen here pretty soon. Just yesterday was one of those days of everything we discussed yesterday about her impact, being an ambassador in the state for Nebraska softball, for her brand, for her person. They had a softball camp yesterday in Papillion, and she was there and overwhelmed. Like every little girl, there's like everybody had a picture. They look up to her. She's now going to be even a bigger celebrity. You know, Caitlin Clark went to the Iowa Cubs game a couple of weeks ago. They did a bobblehead, and they had people waiting at 6 a.m. to get in so they could get in line to get her autograph. So the Omaha Storm Chasers are going to have Jordy Ball out the end of this month, not this homestand, but the next homestand. So she's going to throw out the first pitch. I hope that she doesn't throw it overhand.
No, you got it.
And then she's going to sign autographs. So she is a legit celebrity.
Speaking of Caitlin Clark, was at our local Hy-Vee. Oh yeah, there's not one, but I think two. Well, I saw two, and I thought I saw a third one. Cardboard cutouts of her in certain sections of Hy-Vee in Omaha.
Now,
I wonder at the new one if there's two of them.
Oh, there's probably they probably have even like larger than life size.
Now, is there more Caitlin Clark cutouts than Pat Mahomes?
Yes.
Really?
That shocked me because there was always the Travis Kelce one.
I might have to stay away from Hy-Vee now.
Oh, now you're out on Hy-Vee? Oh,
there was the Travis Kelce
We're in
one.
Omaha.
Where I always thought,
it's an Iowa basketball player in my grocery store.
It was kind of weird. I got to admit, I respect who Caitlin Clark is and what she represents. I mean, she's worldwide, man. I mean, she's awesome.
Well,
yeah, it was like I'm seeing multiple Caitlin Clark cutouts. And I honestly don't even know if I saw one Mahomes. I know there's still a Kelce one because I always walk by the Kelce one.
Gary Sharp here for Bakers.
I always look at that one and say, wow, I'm taller than Travis Kelce because I feel like they should make it what their actual height is. The Caitlin Clark one is like her real height in this cardboard cutout. It was right between the first one you see is right between the Asian market and the Italian Express. And then there was one that was over kind of by on the opposite side, like almost right before you go over by the liquor. She wasn't in the liquor area, the wine and spirits, but she was spotted over there too.
No NIL deal for booze yet?
Not yet. Once they start pushing that thing a little bit closer into the spirits area or the beer cave, then it's a world of possibilities.
Wait, how much of a letdown will it be if Iowa women do not play at Nebraska this year?
That will really suck.
Every year that she's been there, they played the home and home. But we know the Iowa men aren't coming here. With the Iowa, like if you have been used to getting Iowa, and now Caitlin Clark is as popular as she is, and this is the year you don't get Iowa in the Big Ten as a home game, because that's a guaranteed sellout at Lincoln this year if she's playing. Also, here on this day that it is not only Flag Day, Tyler brings up a very, very good point. This is also the second spitter. This is the day that Keith Hernandez made his way onto Seinfeld. So if you remember
today?
you remember the episode, yeah. So
Yeah.
it was a 2-part episode. It was the boyfriend one, and it was Newman talking about recreating the spitting incident,
which was right on the heels of his appearance in the
Yeah.
movie JFK.
It's a great episode.
So this is now a couple of decades ago. On this date, June 14th, that Kramer and Newman went to the game.
Oh, this was the game day.
Yeah, so this is 36 years ago because he said it's the summer of '87. They're in the right field bleachers. They're out there. They're heckling Roger McDowell.
Yep.
And then, after the game, McDowell spit on him.
Nice
while
game,
Keith
pretty
Hernandez
boy.
watched. So it was on this date, June 14th, 1987, 36 years ago.
There was a second spitter possibly in the Gravelly Road.
Yeah.
Or the Magic Loogie. That was one of the great
Defending champion Mets that year.
Well, and for anybody who'd seen JFK and then saw that episode too, it was even better because Newman is actually one of the witnesses that you use as they're trying to explain the magic bullet theory. Oh gosh, it was
Back
fantastic.
and to the left.
Larry David, if you didn't know then, you knew after that. He's dialed in. That was really good.
Well, and there's also, you could get deep into that episode because Newman waited 5 years to tell the story.
Yep. Just because
And
Elaine was dating Keith Hernandez.
So some of the details could have been a little bit off when he was trying to relay that story. It was a fantastic.
So good. That, my friends, is one magic.
Think of some of the great cameos. You remember how Tom Selleck showed up on Friends?
Yeah.
And Keith Hernandez then all of a sudden had a role on Seinfeld for a brief moment.
Yep. For because it was a
And
2
most
episode.
people now know him for that.
Yeah. I would agree with that. Like his appearance, just more mainstream. Like people are like, oh, that's the guy who played baseball for the Mets. Yeah, I remember seeing him in Seinfeld, as opposed to real sports fans knowing who Keith Hernandez really is and still is.
Why did he protect his tweets? Like Keith Hernandez, the Mets TV booth with Gary Cohen and Ron Darling and Keith Hernandez is pretty
Good.
entertaining.
Yeah.
And I didn't get a chance to listen last night. I'm sure in the first game of the Subway Series that the Mets lost again was rather entertaining. But they're funny together. But Keith Hernandez stumbled onto Twitter and he didn't know exactly how it worked. And so he lives way out in Long Island. I mean, he's out near the Hamptons. So his drive to the ballpark every day is long. But he used to do tours of his house and his cat. He had his cat on Twitter. And it would basically be him talking about his cat. But he made it funny. And it was maybe a year or two ago, he put his Twitter account to private.
Oh.
I don't know if he got in trouble or something, but he would tell stories on Twitter, like old Mets stories. And I don't know,
But was
wants to hear about the '86 Mets.
Was anything borderline though? Like anything?
No.
Okay.
It was just funny. It was unique. It was so Keith Hernandez, but he protected his Twitter account.
Hey, on the Subway Series, did you guys catch the Oswaldo Cabrera necklace? His grandmother's tooth. Wearing his grandmother's tooth. And I still didn't get any clarity. They said they were going to ask him during the postgame, and he just said his mom told him to wear it. And whatever my mom tells me to do, I'm going to do. They didn't find out if she's still with us. Was that
she
removed?
lost it and she's still
was
alive
that removed posthumously? I don't. It was.
Do you think that's odder than Billy Bob Thornton and Angelina
blood.
Jolie? Yeah, that had necklaces of each other's blood.
It's up there. That's still way more on the realm of crazy than just having your grandmother's tooth.
I'm really surprised that relationship didn't last.
Yeah, no, it's amazing.
Really
right?
thought they'd go to the distance.
They were a blood couple. They'd show you right there.
She had Billy Bob Thornton and Brad Pitt on her lineup,
which I feel like are two polar opposites, from one end of the spectrum to the other. Billy Bob Thornton's a weird dude. Does some great work, but he is a weird dude. I think Brad Pitt maybe has some type of level of weirdness too, but man, yeah, that blood thing, tiny little veils of blood. What do you?
I mean, who doesn't do that when you were young and you were a teenager?
Oh, did the Blood Brothers?
Yeah.
Yeah,
with your buddies?
I didn't I don't think I ever did that. I remember hearing about him. That was in the day and age of, you swapping blood. If someone was bleeding on the court, they were stopping the game immediately, wiping it down. All right. We had some things to worry about.
Hey, you were never part of the Wolf Pack?
No.
When Alan cuts his
Nope.
hand?
Nope. Nope. Never did it. Always heard about it. And I know that if you wanted to seal a friendship bond, that was the way to go. But I just figured, no. I think we did like the old spit shake. Put her there.
Like as a friend or as a joke? Or as like anger?
No, as a friend.
The hell?
I never did it. I did have it happen to me, but it was
Spit
not.
shake?
It was not. We're friends.
It
You
was
know.
a-
You know what?
oh, yeah.
You know what it is. So my crusade about good game happened in baseball.
Yeah.
You know, when you walk across the diamond and you're 10 years old. Yeah. And let's see, do I remember the kid's name?
I hope you do.
Me too.
I would like to say it's Blaine Miller, but Blaine Miller never played baseball. He just belongs to the state of Iowa.
Sounds like a guy that would do that.
But yeah, the kid. And then from here on out, I always kept my batting gloves on because the kid spit in his hand and then went through the line.
That was a thing. I do remember.
It's actually a
People would do
lesson,
that.
kids that are listening.
Mm-hmm.
He was a public school kid in Urbandale. If he would have been at St. Pius, we would have beat him up.
Wait, so you didn't beat him up because he's a public school kid because he was more tough?
Because he didn't go to our school.
Oh, okay.
So yeah.
Oh, okay. So you didn't see him regularly.
Yes.
I got you. Okay. Yeah, that's a Richard move to do it. But yeah, it was commonly done.
Now the more I think about it, it wouldn't surprise me if his parents had done the same thing.
When they go up to like teachers and stuff, I'm like, hey.
Oh, so now everything's coming back to me. His mom would sit behind the backstop in a lawn chair, and she was also like the scorekeeper. I remember she like put her feet up on the backstop, and she had this gravelly, I've been smoking for my entire life voice.
So she wasn't hot.
She'd always be complaining about the umpire.
What's her last name? You are describing someone in my first year of coaching. I know it's probably obviously maybe a different time, but my gosh,
the same person.
Chad Larson.
Okay, no. It's good to know that there's
Hopefully,
one in every
hopefully
area.
Chad is not listening, or his mom.
Good
is
morning, Chad.
Not listening to us. Oh yeah, she would put her feet up on the backstop, and she would like wear the T-shirt of the team that her son played for.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Baby Gronk?
No, because Chad wasn't very good.
Okay. Well, we don't know if Baby Gronk is going to be good either. He's 10 years old.
That's a mess. Yesterday he appeared on a podcast and he was just feeding answers to his kid. It makes me step back and go, outside of the crappy shoes, man, LeVar Ball, I got to give you credit. You got two kids that are in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you might have had some bad shoes and might have been a gong show along the way, but kudos to you. At least you
It's
produced.
worked out.
I got Baby Gronk who is sliding into everybody's DMs to come on their radio shows or their podcasts.
Well, and
surprised we haven't gotten a
LaMelo and Lonzo, like they weren't spitting out what their dad was telling them to say in most occasions. Like this was weird for this podcast. If you don't know what Sharpie's talking about, like
the more you read about him, the more
interviewer would
cringeworthy
ask
it is.
like how does it feel to be, this elite 10-year-old? And he'd say it feels good, and then all of a sudden cover the mic. No, actually say this.
Yes.
Well, really, I'm getting what was it? Something about getting massages from like the sickest people. Like that's how he's getting his body ready. Like, I'm working out. No, say this. Say you're getting massages from like the most elite people. Oh yeah, I'm getting massages from like the most elite, sickest people. It was just really.
I'd be like sick, like COVID, or
it was uncomfortable.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of these DMs that they've had screenshots on Twitter are uncomfortable.
So, did you hear he DM'd Olivia Dunn?
Mm-hmm.
He's already asked if she'll go to prom with him.
Miss Davis, will you go to prom with me?
Hey, so I don't have anything against the kid. I feel actually really
feel
bad
bad
for the
for
kid.
him. Oh yeah,
and I don't know. Maybe the kid turns out to be something, but damn, dad. Blink twice if you're tired of being dad's clout bait.
Doesn't he have one offer?
Wouldn't shock
I
me.
thought he has one offer.
Who knows? He has an athletic profile.
Yeah, he communicates with Nick Saban too, apparently.
And he's a humble and straight A kid. Good on the kid, bad on the dad.
Yep.
Hour in the books. Coming up a little bit later, we'll dive into the U.S. Open that begins tomorrow at the L.A. Country Club. Kirk Sarlos from TCU stops by, and then Brandon Vogel from Hale Varsity in the middle of the week of the College World Series kicking off here in Omaha.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Backlund Plumbing Time-Saving Traffic Center. We have one accident that has the left lane blocked southbound along the JFK just near L Street, so please be cautious if you're in that area. Then along Highway 370, be prepared for a little bit of slowdown near 150th. And other than that, it looks like your commute this morning should be pretty smooth even if you're running a bit late. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic is brought to you by Saul's Jewelry and Loan.
Everyone knows Saul's pays top dollar for your gold, but Saul's pays cash on the spot for your precious metals too. Silver, gold, platinum, coins, bars. Who wants to wait to get paid? Get to Saul's Jewelry and Loan.
Saul's Jewelry and Loan. You'll find it all at Saul's Jewelry.
Email unsportsmanlike conduct on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox with whatever is on your mind, from your hot takes to what you think is one. The Zone inbox is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. We want to hear from you on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox.
We're live at Funplex in Omaha asking some experts what the best part of summer here is at the park. So, what do you guys think?
Motion Ocean, the slide, the lazy river, splash, double trouble.
Whoa, one at a time. Whoa!
We got this. Riding the waves. Feet first. Yeah, but what about music and lights inside Rockin' Rapids?
Okay. I guess the experts have spoken. This summer, let the fun drop at Funplex. Get your tickets now at fun-plex.com.
Nick Handley here for Templeton Rye Whiskey for the strong-spirited. Excitement is in the air as the College Baseball Championship returns to Omaha, and fans come from all around. Celebrate this year with Templeton Rye Whiskey for the strong-spirited. With a 4-year, 6-year, and 10-year reserve, the whiskey is a home run all around. To learn more about Templeton Rye, check out their Instagram, Templeton Distillery, or visit the On-Site Distillery, just a short drive outside of Omaha. Enjoy responsibly. Templeton Rye Spirits, Templeton, Iowa Rye Whiskey.
DQ presents how to get the most from your next DQ treat run. Step 1, grab the new Oreo Brookie Blizzard. Step 2, dig in. That's it, because this triple-decker treat has brownie and cookie brookie pieces, plus Oreo pieces. Oh, that's a mouthful of DQ goodness in every red spoonful. Guess it's time for a treat run, because the Oreo Brookie Blizzard is here for a limited time, only at DQ. Happy tastes good.
Acura of Omaha has more than 50 new Acuras in stock and ready for immediate delivery. All models, including Integras, TLXs, RDXs, and MDXs. Get the best price in just minutes at AcuraofOmaha.com. Tickets for less. Best seats, best prices, no per-ticket fees. Ticketsforless.com. KOZN Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone. Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
All right, College World Series week. It's always such a big lead up to the first weekend and excitement. People that here in Omaha go to that first weekend. Maybe they celebrate Father's Day at the ballpark. And then as the week goes on, by the way, Uncle Gary pro tip, if you are looking for tickets, and the Tennessee LSU tickets have gone up. I mean, they are through the roof, and that's going to be one of the better Saturday primetime opening round games we've ever had here at the College World Series. Because of the attention and the fan bases. And actually,
teams are pretty good.
Pretty good ball game as well. Wait until your team's third game. Because people are here for the first weekend.
Yep.
And then they got to go back to work. Because it's expensive to stay in Omaha. I mean, that American Inn by Westroads that cost you $55 for the College World Series, it's $255 now. They still haven't put locks on the door or they haven't fixed the windows, but they've upped it $200. So it's expensive to stay in Omaha.
With one eye open.
I was talking to a guy yesterday. He just reached out, just listens. He's coming to the College World Series, and he's like, "Hey, I'm going to be just outside of Omaha. I'm going to have a campground." He goes, "I'm camping, and then I'm just going to take an Uber to the ballpark."
Okay.
But I love college baseball. I'm going to be in town.
That's one way of doing it.
I said, okay, the guy's saving money.
Yeah.
Wait until your team's third game, if you can.
Yeah.
And then the tickets go down. But, there's such a big buildup and excitement for tomorrow and then Friday and Saturday and then Father's Day. And then doesn't it seem as it like wanes as we get closer? And then the championship weekend pales in comparison to like the local enthusiasm for the College World Series. That's just
Kinda like you want it over,
you're right.
you
That's
have
just
fatigue.
my observation.
No, you're right. You get through and the old setup where you started on a Saturday, and then you eventually get the single session games leading up to that final. There was always that Friday where the winners bracket teams would reemerge out of hiding after having their long layoff, and then they would play the teams that have survived each bracket out of the elimination bracket. And you get it was always those single session ones because you would come down to the ballpark area a lot earlier than the night game, and it was as if nothing was going on that day. And then maybe a couple hours leading up to the game, you get a little bit like a tinge of that buzz that you saw in the previous weekend. It's just, I don't know, the fatigue, maybe it's a combination of the heat, but yeah, for like teams that are having to stay there from day one, I would never encourage this because, hey, we want our community to thrive. But yeah, if you're a fan of, say, Tennessee and you're wanting to be a part of this thing, you feel pretty good. Well, I know you're playing LSU, but any team that you feel like, hey, they got a shot to be there throughout the week, you might want to delay your arrival.
I remember there's an Oregon State, when Oregon State and Arkansas played, there was a family, their son was playing for Oregon State. They did an interview, and they were pretty honest about it's expensive to be in Omaha. So you get here the day before your son's team starts playing, and then they go through the week, and then you get into the championship series. You're staying, you don't have a car. You're staying in downtown Omaha. You got to eat. They were saying for a family of 4 with a son that's playing, they spent like $15,000 for lodging and food to be in Omaha for that long. Now, with that said, I love what the NCAA did with the new format. Every day is a doubleheader.
Exactly.
That's fine. But we got to the championship series because it was crazy that you could come to Omaha, wait for that second weekend. You're so excited to come to Omaha. You found maybe a hotel room that was a little bit cheaper, and they are compared to this weekend if you've looked online. You could come on a Saturday and a Sunday and never see any baseball. But yet you were so excited to come to the College World Series. So I'm glad that the NCAA fixed that the championship series starts on Saturday. We get a game on Sunday, and if we need, we play on Monday.
Yeah.
So they've consolidated the schedule, and I think it's better for the format. But there's another part of the first weekend compared to waiting. I always get a hat. Like last year, I thought the hat selection
I
for the
used to
College
do
World
that.
Series sucked.
I had a friend
It was really, really bad. But in the past, I've kind of like waited till towards the end of the series because got a lot of stuff going on the first couple of days, and you don't have time to stop in the tents.
They're slashing prices then too.
They are, especially over near Baseball Village. Then people just want to get the heck out of there.
Yep.
I have learned my lesson is I got to get a hat right away because the good hats will be gone
Well,
after the first
that's
weekend,
true.
and then there's just these hats that are left over.
Like World Series hats or a particular school?
I always get like the College World Series hat.
See, I would always pick a team one. I think the last one I got was an Irvine hat. But
I had a friend.
I think it still existed. In fact, it's right in the Baseball Village. It might have been Lids at one point, but they will actually put the CWS logo on the side of whatever team hat you want. So that was always kind of cool. So I'd always have the CWS logo on the side of the hat, but I think the last one I got was Irvine.
You don't get a hat and have your name put on the back of it like you're 10 years
I'm
old.
not. Yeah, I'm not 12. I'm not 12.
You're in town for the Slump Buster.
Yeah, I'm not playing for the Gladiators anymore.
So here's another observation. So this person that reached out to me, and then he directed me towards a message board. It's curious, and it's great that the College World Series is here, and I love for people to come here and spend a lot of money. Okay, there's some places that have establishments right around the Chuck. 40% of their overall revenue for the entire year comes in the next 8 to 10 days.
Yep,
40%. So I want people to spend a lot of money, have a good time here. Don't join us in our we're a little shooty community right now. So leave your guns at home, but have fun here. Don't have.
We're not Lincoln. We're not Lincoln. Come on.
You gotta watch the news. Don't cause our our law enforcement any issues. They got enough stuff going on. Okay, they don't need headaches from out of towners. So just a little bit more Uncle Gary pro tips. But the observation, I don't know if it dawns on you guys, but to hear people that are not from here discuss our steakhouses is really fascinating to me of who there's a lot of like tourist traps that people that come to the series will say, I got to go to this. And I'm like, man, I lived in Omaha for a decade. I don't ever go to that place.
Yeah.
Most Omahans don't.
Yep.
Okay, so that's the place that's making 40% of the revenue off the College World Series. But to hear people like debate our steakhouses, not in a bad way, but like what is their favorite and where you should go. And I don't know, Buffett goes to his steakhouse on Center as much anymore, so that must mean it's not very good. Hey, whatever happened to Anthony's? I'm amused to hear people how they approach, and we have quite a few quality steakhouses.
We do.
But people, like when they come here, they debate our steakhouses and which are the best. And as a local, it's kind of interesting to hear people's reaction because it's not always the drover. The drover's popular, and
it is.
The drover's popular with all of us that live here year round.
Yeah.
But you throw in a Brother Sebastian's, you go big time downtown. Like there's 3 or 4 steakhouses that are, you probably can't
like
walk
a Sullivan's or whatever.
You probably can't walk in hungover and wearing flip flops.
Nope. No,
I still have a list that you and Damon gave me when I started here my
There
first
is-
weeks.
there's a dress attire.
Gratz.
I assume it'd be very similar to like when people go to Philadelphia for the first time, they want a cheesesteak. So you go to as you mentioned, the tourist trap, but then a lot of the locals are probably like, no, they're taking pride in more of the hidden gem of, it's a place, but you could actually do better.
And San
probably
Antonio's the same
cheaper
way.
at, place XYZ. So
It's like going to Chicago for if people want
deep dish pizza.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. There are the well-knowns like Lou Malnati's.
There's the big three.
Lou Malnati's is for visitors and locals. But if you really get deep into it, the locals will get you away from deep dish and they will start sending you to places that are out in the burbs that are fantastic. Pequod's.
Pequod. That was one of my favorites.
That's if you're going there, somebody locally had recommended that because that's not really a tourist thing.
Yep.
But you guys listen, keep your ear to the ground. Like there's the people talking about our steakhouses here and which ones they want and just their overall observation, how it compares to us that live here year round. And I'm not going to that steakhouse in the next 2 weeks because, you got to wait forever. But I can walk in there in July and maybe have a 10-minute wait, have a drink at the bar, and I'm eating a steak. But just people, how they do their reviews of our steakhouse.
Yeah.
And by the way, Anthony's, for everybody listening, is closed. It has been closed.
And the bowl is now at a Sapp Brothers, right? Then a Sapp Brothers buy that?
Yeah, it's one of the major fails of the Omaha Athletic Department.
It is. I agree. It should be somewhere on the UNO campus in the athletic facility.
No. There's only 2 places it can be. The current athletic administration at Omaha failed miserably. Now, I'm saying this very sarcastically because I've said this to Adrian, is they should have purchased the Anthony Bowl and either put it at the entrance at 67th and Center. Because for God's sake, you can't see that message board.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, you can't
That is
see
true.
it at all. They need to elevate it. They need to make it bigger, whatever. I don't know what the stipulations are.
Ground level is not good.
Yeah, it's a waste of time.
I agree.
Okay. You can't, okay. So that's just my.
I mean, look at this beautiful marquee out here.
But
there are a beautiful sign out there.
Elevate the marquee.
Yeah, agreed.
They could have put it right there because it draws attention, or beyond the right field wall at Tel Anderson.
Oh, that's right. I remember you bringing that up.
Yeah.
I love that idea. I love that idea. And then if for some reason you hit it, I don't know if they'll have it like a little. Would it be weird if you hit the bowl and you got some type of gift card to a different steakhouse? I mean, obviously Anthony's doesn't exist, but that could actually benefit a different steakhouse.
Oh, yeah.
The bowl.
You're the person for that inning. They hit the bowl, and you go down to the concession stand, and they have a steak ready for you.
I think they should. I really do. I think they should. That would be more than anything. It'd just be a really cool attraction.
Anything going to go into Anthony's?
Not that I'm aware of. It's such a prime spot. 72nd. I mean, you're right there off the interstate. Very recognizable area. I wouldn't think that would be. It's not a tough place to get to. It's a landmark, man. Would it be weird if another restaurant went there?
Probably not.
Because it's not one of those places. It's like, yeah, but it's hard to get to or it's outdated. I mean,
I got plenty of parking, right?
Yeah,
but it maybe in that area it's gobbled up by the rest of the industrial area.
Yeah, it's some prime real estate right there.
All right, so welcome to Omaha and enjoy our.
We have a lot of
our
steakhouses.
steak.
We have a lot of them.
Tennessee fans will want Applebee's and discuss where you can find those.
It's the neighborhood grill, okay?
Hey, and also don't get on us for our steakhouses usually are dark.
They are.
That has nothing to do with the quality of meat that you're about to eat.
It's the ambiance.
You know, it's cool though.
Or if you're an out of towner and you go to a place where everybody's dressed as a monk and they're playing the music, don't worry, the food is pretty good.
It freaks people, and they've got a great salad bar. If you're into salad bars, and I know since COVID, people are a little maybe more skittish about salad bars. So their salad bar is still one of my favorites.
It builds up your immune system.
The steak is good too, but yeah, the salad bar is good. And also, this is always, I think, a pro tip. For me anyway, I love this. You get to the old school steakhouses and you still get offered spaghetti or masticholi with it. You're in a good spot.
There's only one of those places, right? Cassio's?
Yeah.
Cassio's, but Caniglia's used to be that way too, which is now a sports bar. But yes, that was one of my favorite places in spaghetti masticholi.
Well, speaking of that, people, quit promoting Spaghetti Works as a must-stop in Omaha. Okay? Can we just stop?
It's spaghetti. Hey, good salad bar, but yeah, it's spaghetti.
Oh, I might have some bad news here.
Oh?
I don't like that.
Little Birdie has said a steakhouse we just mentioned may be closing.
Which one?
Well, I don't want to mention
okay.
it because what if it's wrong?
Okay.
But he's usually right.
Oh, no.
Well, that'd be unfortunate. I wonder if McDonald's drove them out of town as well. All right, 13 past the hour. We'll talk golf in the next hour with the U.S. Open coming up. We talk headlines with Jimmy right now.
Yeah, it's that purple shake. Trev Alberts might be getting paid more with one sport still left to score, which is baseball. Nebraska stands in 29th place in the Directors' Cup with just over 734 points. The 5 schools directly behind the Huskers, which are Northwestern, Minnesota, Louisville, Arizona State, and BYU, did not have baseball teams make NCAA regionals. So while Auburn and South Carolina in 35th and 36th place can't make up enough points to catch Nebraska, therefore, if they finish inside the top 30 of the Directors' Cup, Trev gets a bonus. A 26-30 finish would give him a $160,000 bonus. If Nebraska stays in 29th, it would be the Huskers' best finish since 27th in 2015-16. So
it's not nothing.
Thank you, track and field.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Good point.
So what Stanford is going to win it this year? They had won it for a while, and then Texas.
Yeah.
Here's how, and there was, when Bill Byrne was the athletic director, people really got on him about chasing the Sears Cup at the time. And you look at, if you didn't like Bill Byrne, step aside from that. They were pretty much from top to bottom were rolling.
Mm-hmm.
Like every sport was competitive, and then they were competitive when it comes to the postseason. But Byrne was always knocked as, well, I should have paid more attention to football instead of chasing after the Sears Cup. I don't think I've ever really heard Trev mention this. I mean, every athletic director would like to have a quality athletic program from top to bottom. But let's be honest. If you're at a place like Nebraska, you're in the Big Ten, the SEC, or Power 5, you have 2 sports. How's your football doing?
Yeah.
How's your men's basketball doing? And then how's everybody else doing?
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to, because that's ultimately, like judging athletic directors on if they should keep their job or what kind of job they're doing. It used to be, well, can they raise money? What's their facilities like?
Mm-hmm.
Then it's, what's their hires like?
Yeah.
Quite simply, it is, how's football and men's basketball doing? That's how I'm judging you. And Trev will be, and I said this yesterday, I think Nebraska athletics is just starting to turn the corner where from top to bottom, men and women, there is like light at the end of the tunnel, and there might be the trajectory starting to turn up. Not super fast, but it's going to be better than the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Is he will be judged on Matt Rule.
Yes, 100%.
If Matt Rule is successful, Trev's successful.
Yep.
That is, set your watch to how we judge athletic directors, unless they put their foot in their mouth or they, get sideways with somebody that is, making decisions above them.
And I think if you're like Stanford and you have a reputation now of being so well balanced throughout your athletic department, it is probably a source of pride. But again, I think in a lot of football-driven athletic departments, like you just said there, okay, cool. This is something that we can celebrate in the summer, but how'd football do? How'd men's basketball do? Okay, then we're good. Assuming that those things are on par and on a good path, then you're fine with that. Is it still a Learfield Cup?
I think it has changed that.
Yeah.
I feel like it's changed many times. Yeah. But I know he made reference to it, and this usually happens on his radio hits.
At Sears than it is at Learfield.
That is true.
Yeah.
It's a good point.
Wait a minute. I might have been wrong there. There aren't a lot of Sears left.
yeah, there's a few. I mean, there's still more Sears than Blockbusters, right?
Yeah, I mean, it could be like 2-1.
Yeah, it's not. I don't want to say it's like a wide margin, but
Last time I was at a Sears in Omaha, I drove through to get a COVID test. when the building was still up over by Crossroads.
Or Crossroads.
Easier to get a COVID test at Sears than Learfield.
Maybe. Yeah. But I know he's brought it up a few times. Trev has brought it up a few times when asked about it. So how's athletics doing? That's sort of your like gauging point of like, hey, this and this and this and this, and here's where we are. But I don't think he ever like puffs his chest out about it.
How do you think we'll judge? How do we judge Marcus Blossom?
I still think basketball. I mean, don't you?
Is it retention? How we judge him? Because he hasn't had to make a major hire.
That's true.
He took over a situation that he was handed a golden goose by a great athletic director that had Creighton Athletics in a great spot. Maybe we judge him on retention.
I think that's fair.
Like if you have a men's basketball coach that is courted.
Yep.
Do you keep him?
How do you keep them? What do you do? What's your play? I would even put in now the longevity of Jim Flannery, Kirsten Bernthal Booth. Those are mainstays of the athletics department right there. Ed, that's going to be one to follow. We keep saying that's one to follow.
Yeah, you're a men's basketball school.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm being a little sarcastic, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But that's what keeps the lights on.
Mm-hmm.
Might be retention and people that are on your staff. Okay, how will we judge Adrian? Will Adrian be judged off men's basketball?
Since Crutch was the hire, I think that's a decent part of it.
And went all in on men's basketball.
Yep.
Yeah, I could see that. Continue growth and success.
For a guy who played the sport
yep.
and is very knowledgeable and passionate about basketball.
Yep. I think so. I think that's fair. Because hockey, even with the extension for Mike Gabinet, are you convinced that it was the all-in approach on Gabinet and hockey? So I feel like there is, this is not to say that Adrian doesn't care about hockey, but I think he saw, how that runs and wants to get a bigger, stronger push for men's basketball. So yeah, I think that's fair.
But if hockey at Omaha stays the same as it is right now,
I mean,
do you think it's acceptable? I mean, like
top four in the NCHC?
Yeah. Just kind of where they are right now. A blip here or there.
Mm-hmm.
First you got to get to St. Paul.
Yeah.
Trip to the NCAA once every 4 years. If it just kind of stays like that, isn't that okay?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Considering the conference you're in.
So as long as it doesn't dip back and all of a sudden they're a 7 and 8 seed in the conference tournament.
You're not Miami of Ohio.
Yeah.
Totally.
All right, here's another part of this, and we'll wrap it up and let you get on, Jimmy. So you still have relatively young in their tenure athletic directors at Creighton, Omaha, and Nebraska. I mean, we don't have the Bruce Rasmussen tenures going on right now. So they're all still pretty young because it'll be Trev 2 years.
Yeah.
I mean, they were all hired around the same time.
Yeah.
Who stays in their job the longest?
I think Trev. I do think Trev.
Which, if you would have asked me that if he was at Omaha 2 years ago, I would have said probably not. I think he's getting ready to, have one more big project and then
fix it. And
go off to the lake house in South Carolina.
Yeah.
And then got this job and got rejuvenated and now has things going Trev's way in Lincoln and the setup that he loves. And
it's fun.
So, I think Omaha would greatly benefit from Adrian being there for a while.
Yeah.
But if he has success, and especially if the bull market takes off and they got the NIL product of it, the women's sports at Omaha are doing really, really well. They got to get the men's sports, especially the two main ones, head in the right direction. Could he be a hot commodity as a young athletic director who has worked his way up? I mean, would he be a possibility to go back downtown? And then, I mean, I don't, Marcus Blossom is no way he had a long timer on the Hill. I mean, he's going to be a short timer. So I would agree with you. I think Trev will be there the longest.
Yeah, because I would totally agree with Adrian
But
being
the
sort of
school
an
that-
up and comer.
The school that needs their AD to be there the longest is 60th and Dodge.
100%. Even with the infrastructure that's there with the facilities, and a lot of that had to do with Trev. And I think a lot of it, again, very admirable that Trev saw a lot of those things all the way through. But now you have to, at some point, that whole setup is going to wear off a little bit. So you have to take it to the next level, and that's going to be competition. And that's where longevity, having that plan, having your staff in place, people that you trust, that you know are going to give you the results that are competitive at the level that you need to be competitive at. And again, it comes down to what is hockey doing to take the next step forward, but basketball too. And you know that better than anyone.
Yeah. All right. Jimmy?
See, we just we killed some time for some breaking news.
Can we take credit for this, that we drew this out because this was coming?
In the stream, Deep Pick says there's only one Blockbuster left in the country, and it's not technically a Blockbuster. They just allowed the guy to use the name and logo, but most importantly here, there are 18 Sears left.
There's 18. See,
where am I going to get my tools?
That is far more than I thought.
Bob Vila said to go to Sears back in the day. I don't know if you can do that anymore. Thank you, Deep Pick.
So I wonder how much that location had to pay for the Blockbuster logo and sign when you're not actually part of the, what is now the dead Blockbuster franchise. I would assume you had to pay a little bit for that, because now that's just like, that's nostalgia. That's retro. That's something.
Friday night, bag of candy and a Coke.
Yeah. And ridiculous late fees that if you don't pay them within 2 days, you might get a collection agency after you. That's a true story.
The same people that would send you a thing about paying your BMG CD bill.
Yeah.
13 CDs for a penny or whatever it was.
I admit I bought Monster Ballads at 2 a.m. one night.
He's just belting out Sister Christian.
2-disc set after some Taco Bell and drinking. I thought, man, that is a good deal. That would look really good in my 88 Honda Civic. I don't regret it.
Man, you paint a picture.
I don't regret it.
The professional hockey season's over. When the Vegas Golden Knights entered the NHL in 2017 as an expansion team, their owner, Bill Foley, said his plan was to win the Stanley Cup in 6 years. That's why they lost in year 2, because that prophecy was fulfilled last night in Vegas as the Golden Knights blew out the Florida Panthers 9-3 in Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Final to win the series 4-1, capture the first championship in franchise history, and the game wasn't even that close. In other Vegas news, on the same day, the Nevada Senate voted to approve $380 million in public money for a Las Vegas ballpark for the Athletics. Fans in Oakland held their long-planned reverse boycott intended to fill the Coliseum and prove their worth to owner John Fisher in Major League Baseball. In the South parking lot, fans lined up 3 hours before the game to grab one of the 7,000 green cell T-shirts provided by $39,000 in community donations and produced by Oaklandish, a local clothing company. There was a taco truck and a DJ and tables set up for fans to make their own anti-Fisher signs. Sure, some of them are nice and vulgar, too. The game drew 27,759, the largest home crowd of the season, and more than triple the team's home average of 8,555. And then they sent the fans home happy. The A's beat the Rays 2-1 to win their 7th straight. They're now 19-50. Meanwhile, the Kansas City Royals continue their push for the worst record in baseball, and now it got to be discussed, perhaps the worst in Major League history, as they lost again last night at Kauffman 5-4 to the Cincinnati Reds. Were pretty hot themselves. The Astros exact some revenge on the Nationals for 2019 by beating them 6-1 at home last night. If they could have just won one home game against them in the 2019 World Series. Elsewhere, the Cubs beat the Pirates at Wrigley 11-3, and the Padres beat the Guardians out west 6-3.
No, sorry, they're still in second place.
First to 81.
Thanks, Jimmy. There is a fake account out there that is on Twitter, presenting itself as the CWS official Twitter account. It is at. Do I give the locale of the Twitter account?
What are we working with here first? Before we divulge,
they tweeted out, "Welcome back to Omaha, where 86% of our city council isn't under federal indictment." Hashtag CWS 2023. Hashtag CWS Omaha. So it got 59 retweets, 8 quotes, 338 likes, 20,000 views. It's not the official account. Because then, so I noticed, because I was reading through the replies.
Yeah.
The person that is the chair of the Nebraska Democratic Party, Jane Klebe, says, interesting take for an official count as one of our largest tour activities in the state. Are you also going to comment on Trump? And then they realize that this is a fake account. So for everybody that's showing up today, hey, 86% of our city council isn't under federal indictment. And if you are, you're still in jail. All right, mornings with Sharp and Handley at 1620 The Zone. All right, this is official. Tickets for Less is having the ultimate baseball tailgate on Father's Day with the Old Mattress Factory. It's an all-you-can-eat buffet. You're right around the corner from the ballpark, so you can enjoy a day with Dad, courtesy of Tickets for Less. For more information, go to ticketsforless.com. Now, not only you can find more information on the ultimate baseball tailgate, but that big baseball event that's going to begin on Friday, the best seats, the best locations with zero per ticket fees can be found at ticketsforless.com. Go to the website or download their app. You are going to be a winner. And even more for being a valued listener of this show. Use my promo code THEZONE at checkout for a further discount. That's THEZONE at checkout. And remember, when you go to checkout, you have no per ticket fees. The other sites, they're going to zap you. Not Tickets for Less. Ticketsforless.com or the Tickets for Less app.
Gary Sharp, Nick Handley, and Jimmy Chavez. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Weekdays 6 to 10. On 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Mornings on 1620 The Zone is brought to you by MD West One Orthopedics, Neurosurgery, and Spine. The Connor Happer Show.
I feel the need to stand up for bunting. I feel as if it has been crusaded against. I feel as if there is a war on bunting, Josh. They hate bunting. They hate giving up outs. Nerds. It was started by that line in Moneyball where Billy Bean says, never bunt. You're giving up an out. And I'm here to tell you it's still good for something. So, once again, Connor Happer here for bunting.
The Connor Happer Show. Weekdays from 10 to 2 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast presented by Funplex Water Park and Rides from the KETV Newswatch 7 Weather Center on 1620 The Zone.
Heating up a bit more on Wednesday. Expect mostly sunny skies throughout the day. Winds remain light and variable. Dew points fairly comfortable as well, with highs climbing into the upper 80s. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV Newswatch 7.
Are you sick of spring allergies and itchy contacts? Get rid of them today at KuglerVision.com.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Backlund Plumbing Time-Saving Traffic Center. We're getting reports of a disabled vehicle near 42nd and Center, so please be cautious if you're in that area. On Industrial Road, be prepared for a little bit of a delay near 138th Street. And on Dodge, be prepared for just a little bit of slowdown from 94th to 90th. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic was brought to you by Les Hills Harley Davidson.
Riding season is here, and it's time to trade in and trade up. Or, if you ain't riding it, Les Hills Harley Davidson is buying it. Sell your Harley Davidson today. Les Hills Harley Davidson. Rise up and ride on.
Dust. It's in the living room, the bedroom, and the bathroom. It's also in your lungs. Let's fix that, shall we? Duct Defense Midwest offers a comprehensive system that cleans, disinfects, filters, and purifies the air. They'll make your home healthier and improve the life of your HVAC system. So improve the health of your home and everyone in it. Go to cleanairradio.com right now for a special air duct cleaning offer for Zone listeners. cleanairradio.com.
Watching a ball game at Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill is pretty awesome. Oscar's offers the MLB package, so your team is always on their upgraded audio-video system, and nothing is better than watching the game with a cold frosty one, Oscar's Pizza, or award-winning char-buffed wings. And with daily lunch and dinner specials, it's really a no-brainer. So get ready to watch your favorite team play ball at Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill, 173rd and West Center Road, and takeout at 162nd and Maple.
Email us on the Equitable inbox with whatever is on your mind. The Zone inbox is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. You can hit me up, agree, disagree, tell me your thoughts on life at Handley at 1620thezone.com. We want to hear from you on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox.
Let me get you up to speed on the service that you need.
Brian recently had us tow his all-wheel drive Mercedes from another shop. He was told it needed a new transmission for over $4,000. As it turned out, the reason he had no forward was because his front CV axle was bad. We replaced the axle for a few $100 and he was back on the road.
Transmission, shifting to running smooth.
Don't miss the great savings with the Omaha Storm Chasers on $2 Deals Days, presented by Pinnacle Bank. Every Thursday, you can get berm tickets and select concessions for only $2 each. Also enjoy $2 domestic beer cans and small Pepsi products. Visit OmahaStormChasers.com.
Don't miss this week's Zone Deal.
This week's half-off deal is $50 worth of vouchers to Le Voltaire French Restaurant for only $25. Le Voltaire Pepperwood Village is a locally owned, unpretentious French restaurant serving down-home cooking with an extensive wine list and great handcrafted cocktails for decades. Whether dining with friends, clients, or that special someone, Le Voltaire will make you feel right at home.
Zone Deals go fast. 9 a.m. Friday, 1620thezone.com.
Nick Handley here for my friends at DJ's Dugout. Everyone at DJ's Dugout says welcome to Omaha baseball fans. June is a fun and exciting month in Omaha, and we welcome all the college baseball teams, little league teams, and visitors here in town. DJ's can accommodate teams in large groups. Omaha is known for getting a good burger, and DJ's fresh, never frozen half-pound Angus beef burgers are absolutely delicious. DJ's is locally and Vietnam veteran-owned. Dig in at the Dugout.
And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
All right, DC writes into the Equitable Bank inbox. It's too bad South Carolina isn't here with Oral Roberts here.
Oh, geez.
Could be some money to be made for some young, enterprising person. Back in my wild and crazy days. See, I wish I knew DC when he hadn't settled down and got like a really important job. Like there's certain people that, gosh, why did you have to go and be an adult?
Yeah.
Like Sipple, when Sipple and I were a little bit younger in Lincoln, like the young unattached Sipple, that Sip was going nonstop.
You think people say that about you too?
Why'd
Gary have to go and grow up?
No,
Frequent the ice cream parlors.
I admit. 21 was a bad year.
Oh, 21?
Well, that was like Sip was, Sip wasn't covering football, so he's like at the horse race track. Like Sipple and I used to hang out a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Little debauchery.
Okay.
But then he kind of semi grew up. But DC continues. Back in my wild and crazy days when Cal Irvine and Oregon State were coming here, I looked at the bracket and realized they could play each other. So I made T-shirts that said Beaver Eaters. Walked around Rosenblatt with them over my shoulder every single day, sold them out and had to get more printed. Was there the whole week and never had to go to the ATM for more beer money.
I bet.
It's a great email.
And then the NCAA took over and they said, not so fast.
Yep.
That's the whole corporate thing. Like around Rosenblatt, you could do whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
And there were those shirts that were shared and sold, and people are like, licensing, guy got to make a buck. It's tough out here. Now you go downtown to the corporate cookie cutter, and it's like, nope, where's that sticker on that shirt there, pal?
Yep.
Come with me, Hollywood.
Yep.
Stop selling them tickets. And by the way, where'd you get any paper tickets? I thought it was only online tickets. My man. All right, DC, thank you.
No, he's right.
He's
right.
So it just means more, and we have SEC teams that are coming, and it's always about football in the SEC. Remember the excitement a week ago when the Big Ten announced their 24-25 schedule?
No, I could feel it from Mexico.
So guess what's happening tonight in prime time?
It's not the Pac-12.
The SEC is going to announce their 2024 8-game conference schedule that includes Texas and Oklahoma. Prime time, you say?
Yeah.
On the SEC network? Wow.
Not much else to watch on TV.
By the way, did anybody else catch last week? The Big Ten stake in the Big Ten network is down to 39%.
Ooh.
Or is it Fox's stake in the Big Ten network or whatever?
Ooh.
Wasn't it 51?
Yeah. So Fox owned 49% and the Big Ten owned 51.
Mm-hmm.
Their stake is now 39%.
Huh.
Look into that.
Huh.
But back to the SEC. So it means more.
It does.
And it's all about football, and it's all about promoting yourself. And they are having a schedule release where there is buzz in the SEC country because they're going to do it right. I wonder if there'll be many leaks. Will they be able to keep stuff tight? Because By the time they got to 3:30 last week, you weren't here, Nick, in
No.
Mexico. The whole schedule was out everywhere. You'd actually gotten a release from Nebraska about what the schedule has before they went on the air. But I was looking Kurt Bowles from the Austin Statesman in Austin. And we miss Kirk and coming to the College World Series. He said that Texas's schedule has a trip to Texas A&M, to Arkansas. Now, they have played Arkansas recently in a home and home. And then they have Georgia coming to Austin. That league knows what to do. People want the rivalry back, so they're going to give them Texas and Texas A&M. I imagine people want to see Alabama, Georgia play.
Yeah.
I bet we get an Alabama, Georgia, and we already going to get Georgia, Texas. I'm sure, Alabama, LSU will be preserved. The SEC they know what they're doing. They promote their league. They know that they have a marketing arm. And tonight at 6, they're going to announce their schedule, and it's going to make what the Big Ten did last week just look like a complete mess. But it's always about football. See, that's the difference. It's not always about football in the Big Ten. It's always about football in the SEC.
Yeah, and it's disappointing because it goes back to what they kind of stumbled into in COVID when it came to like schedule releases and stuff and having content because you needed content. But the Big Ten, the platform itself, or BTN, I should say, that platform that they've had, it just in a lot of ways has missed the mark. And that's where I think these schedule releases and the way that they're going to do it. And you're right, because actually when I was in Mexico, I was with a couple of people in our group that were Iowa fans, and they're like, holy cow, we're starting to see what Iowa's going to be doing. And I remember getting the Keith Mann email before the broadcast.
Wait, you see what Scott Docterman's going to do to Nebraska tweeters. By the way, just a cesspool.
It's continuing too.
We're on the 4th day of this. I've already seen it started this morning.
It's still going on? I actually thought that this morning.
It's like you said your piece now. Just back away, folks.
No,
just
let
back
it
away.
go.
Just back away. But yeah, it just the SEC. I don't want to say, hey, BTN, take notes, or Big Ten, take notes on how they do this, but we kind of mock it. It just means more. But there's a reason the SEC can kind of puff out their chest and say that, and we can't do anything about it.
Look at the end of last month. They had their spring meetings in Destin, Florida. It got covered nationally.
Yep.
Yeah.
They have a schedule release for the 24 schedule. I think they'll go to 9 in 25. They'll be their TV partner, ESPN, will say, hey, let's go to 9.
We want games.
Okay, so this is the middle of June that they're announcing this. And then you know what they're going to do almost to the day a month later? They start their media day extravaganza. They know how to do this. Now, with that said, the Big Ten doesn't know how to market themselves, but they know how to make money. Steve Berkowitz at the USA Today, he does this every year, has just released the revenue numbers. It is plain as day that there are 2 conferences, and then there's everybody else. The SEC and the Big Ten each top $2 billion in athletic department revenue, clearly outpacing their Power 5 foes. So I'll get to where Nebraska is on this list. This is total revenue, total expenses. The highest generating revenue athletic department in the country is
Alabama.
Ohio State.
Okay.
So Ohio State brings in $251 million.
And they're not going to fund a third assistant baseball coach.
Their expenses are $225. Texas brings in $239 million. Their expenses are also $225. Now, Alabama is third. Alabama brings in $214 million. Michigan brings in $210. Georgia is fifth. Then it goes LSU, Texas A&M, Florida, Penn State, Oklahoma. That is your top 10. Indiana is 13th in the country.
Wow.
They bring in $166 million.
Impressive.
Virginia brings in $161 million. They are right there with Florida State, who also brings in $161 million. And then Clemson. So those are the first time that any ACC schools show up. Iowa is 21st in the country. They bring in $151 million. They also have $151 million in expenses. Wisconsin brings in $150 million. They have $147. million in expenses. That's 21 and 22. Illinois is 24th. Nebraska is 26th in the country in total revenue. Nebraska brings in $143 million. Their expenses, $131 million. These are all the public schools that put in their finances, the revenue and expenses on USA Today. If you are the Big 12 and you are the Pac-12 and you are the ACC, wow. But even more so as I'm scrolling through this, the Pac-12 right now, as it is at such a huge disadvantage because the first Pac-12 school that shows up is Oregon at $153 million. Washington is 25th, Arizona 31st, Arizona State 33, Cal 34, Utah is 36th on this list in terms of revenue in college athletics. I know you are asking about UCLA because USC is a private school.
Yeah.
UCLA is 47th in the country, $103 million. The lifeline that they were given by the Big Ten, they are in the middle of the pack of the current Pac-12 in terms of generating revenue. But the Pac-12 is at a major disadvantage.
It's very similar to the Rutgers lifeline as well, and Maryland to an extent. But
Rutgers is 46th in the country, or 42nd in the country, $109 million in revenue. Maryland is 43rd at $107 million.
Wow. The Maryland one, that to be that close to Rutgers is still a bit surprising.
Well, I would not have pegged Virginia as the highest revenue ACC school.
ACC, yeah.
But the gap between the Big Ten, SEC, and everyone else is like, wow.
Yeah.
If you scroll through this list, which you can find on USA Today, it is apparent, and it ain't going anywhere.
No.
I mean, it might even get even more one-sided for two conferences.
The rich shall get richer on that one. What was Clemson at on that one? I mean, you mentioned Virginia, but
They're 17.
Okay, 17.
So they're the third ACC school.
Okay.
Louisville is the fourth ACC school. So if I'm doing this, the Big Ten has Ohio State 1, Michigan 4, Penn State 9, Michigan State 13, Michigan State 12, Indiana 13, Iowa 21st, Wisconsin 22nd, Illinois 24th, Nebraska is 26th. So what does that put them? 8th in the Big Ten?
Yeah.
In terms of total revenue?
Indiana, though. Indiana and Illinois. How about that? And a lot of that also has to do with expenses, too. You know, when you on what you're generating to the expenses and where that stands. But, that is kind of crazy to look at. It's not surprising to look at the SEC Big Ten sort of stronghold on revenue generators. But again, it just goes back to how those TV deals, how each conference is able to market itself. And as much as the Big Ten still probably could do a better job of it, as you pointed out earlier before you even gave out that list, Big Ten's good at making money. I don't think anybody's going to debate that. But
you could make more.
You could make more.
So here's an interesting thing. In the Summit League, and this is first and foremost hockey. So North Dakota generates the most revenue at $30 million, and that's hockey.
Oh, yeah.
Then North Dakota State generates $29 million.
Football.
South Dakota State is Omaha.
Really?
Omaha generated in this last go around $25.9 million. Their expenses $21.5 million.
Nice.
South Dakota State generates $25 million. I mean, they're like changing your cubby hole behind Omaha.
Yeah.
But I thought Omaha would be a little bit further down, but Omaha generates $25.9 million. Well, not bad.
What does South Dakota State's venue hold for basketball, by the way?
6,000.
And they're usually
it's about 6,000 because South Dakota built their arena to make sure they had one more seat than they had in Brookings.
And they're usually pretty full
for the women.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean the men have been really successful. They draw well for the men, but not the women. Almost are, they're putting 4,000. The men draw about 3,000. Like South Dakota State Oral Roberts and Omaha are the top 3 drawing teams in the Summer League for men's basketball. But they are redoing Frost Arena. It's going to be really, really nice when they're done with it.
Good for Omaha, though.
Well, looking at this number, North Dakota must, and I mean, you've been to their palace. You've been to Ralph's Palace.
Yeah.
They must generate are they the highest generating hockey program in America?
I would be curious to see where Minnesota's at right now, too. But I would think so. I mean, I can't imagine from a facility standpoint of fan support, the amount on a consistent basis of how many season tickets and butts are in the seats for hockey. I would think so. If they're not number 1, they're definitely in the top 3. I'd be curious to see what Minnesota is.
All the public schools that have to report this in the Big Ten are all inside of the top 45 in terms of revenue. Anybody want to go back to the Big 12?
Yeah. Big 12. Hey, it was easier on our gas, though, when we could travel to games.
All right, coming up next hour, we'll dive into the U.S. Open that is at the L.A. Country Club. Good luck to everybody that is playing it. Now, there's slopes on the fairways.
Got a little video sent to us showing that little, wow.
Yeah. Matt Rudy will stop by. Kirk Sarlos a little bit later, head coach at TCU. The Horned Frogs are playing about as good as anybody. I mean, Wake Forest is a wagon. TCU is red hot. Kirk will join us coming up at 9:15, and Brandon Vogel as well on Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
And speaking of college baseball, great place to check out all of the action in the comfort of many TVs and great food is DJ's Dugout with 7 metro area locations. They welcome all the baseball fans, welcoming not just the college baseball fans, but all of the little league teams and all other visitors at DJ's Dugout. And they can accommodate any team in a large group, no matter what the size is. And don't forget daily drinks and lunch specials, dinner specials today. In fact, you've got a dozen wings for $11.99 and $10.99 boneless wings. Also some good Jack and Crown specials. And don't forget, all week long, you can enjoy those specials. Omaha known for getting a good burger, too. DJ's Fresh, Never Frozen, half-pound Angus beef burgers are fantastic. And while you're there, get the Super Bowl nachos, one of my favorite things. It's DJ's Dugout, locally in Vietnam, veteran-owned. Dig in at the Dugout.
More with Gary and Nick after this on 1620 The Zone. Remember, no matter how you listen, it's still AM radio. 1620 The Zone.
We're live at Funplex in Omaha asking some experts what the best part of summer here is at the park. So, what do you guys think?
Motion Ocean, the slides, the lazy river, splash, double trouble.
Whoa, one at a time. Whoa!
We got this. Riding the waves of the Motion Ocean. Next, double trouble. A trapdoor drops, and suddenly you're rocketing down a slide feet first. Yeah, but what about music and lights inside Rockin' Rapids?
Okay. I guess the experts have spoken. This summer, let the fun drop at Funplex. Get your tickets now at fun-plex.com.
Attention homeowners. Are you ready to unleash the power of savings? J-Tech Construction and Solar, the official exterior experts of the Huskers, has an exclusive offer. Purchase any 2 trades from our winning lineup of services. Windows, doors, siding, roofs, gutters, and solar, and receive a 10% discount on your entire purchase. Click yourexteriorexperts.com to schedule your free consultation today. Double up on savings and save with J-Tech Construction and Solar, the official exterior experts of the Huskers. Click yourexteriorexperts.com.
It's all too obvious. We're being let down by the institutions we used to trust. American families are talking about a future of food shortages, banks failing, society breaking down, and what seems like the setup for the apocalypse. But instead of throwing up their hands, folks are leaning into self-reliance, investing in emergency food storage now more than ever. And My Patriot Supply, the nation's largest emergency preparedness company, has made it easier than ever for you to have peace of mind knowing you're prepared. Go to MyPatriotSupply.com and stock up on their best-selling 3-month emergency food kit. You get tasty breakfasts, lunches, and dinners averaging over 2,000 calories per day. Get at least 1 food kit for each family member. For a limited time, save $200 plus get free shipping on 3-month emergency food kits at MyPatriotSupply.com. It's time to prepare for what we all know is coming. Go to MyPatriotSupply.com now. MyPatriotSupply.com.
Ever walk through a door and see all the trucks? Yeah, It's kind of like that at Gretna Auto Outlet. Half-ton trucks, 3/4-ton trucks, dualies, gas or diesel, Gretna Auto Outlet will be happy to show it to you. They don't call it truck heaven for nothing, you know. Stop in the climate-controlled comfort of the indoor showroom or online with the virtual showroom at GretnaAuto.com. Gretna Auto Outlet, open Sundays too, just north of Nebraska Crossing on Highway 6 in Gretna.
This Father's Day, bring something special home from 42 Degrees for the favorite men in your life. How about a Boost EVO from our Dr. Dabber collection? Maybe a nice glass pipe starting at $9.99 or a new grinder for the low price of $11.99. How about Delta products starting at $7.99 or our premium Kratom starting at $9.99? With 9 locations, soon to be 10, the most professional, knowledgeable, and friendly staff, why shop anywhere else? 42 Degrees, by your mom's house.
Usually, to get a skybox view of a Nebraska football game, you need to be a drone, a hawk, or a fighter jet. But sitting in an actual skybox is a lot more comfortable. So, enter the Nebraska Lottery's Lucky for Life ticket snap. Until July 10th, buy a Lucky for Life ticket and enter for a chance to win Nebraska football skybox season tickets or other great ticket prizes. Sure, fighter jets are cool, but there's no legroom.
Lucky for Life top prize odds 1 in 30 million.
Are you here for the job interview?
I just saw that ad that said apply here for dream job.
What qualifications do you have?
What exactly would I be doing?
Well, this is a dream job. You would be daydreaming.
All day?
Start at 8 a.m. and spend the day dreaming about all the millions you could win playing Mega Millions from the Nebraska Lottery.
I'm good at that.
We want people with big imaginations, not just the usual yachts and exotic vacations.
Like a city built with bouncy houses or limo for dogs.
You're hired.
Mega Millions top prize odds 1 in 302 million.
1620 The Zone at 1620thezone.com. Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Hey, keep an eye. Beginning today in Los Angeles, the Elite 11 for high school quarterbacks. Danny Kaelin is out in Los Angeles. Zane Flores last year showed up really well. I think Nebraska quarterbacks are at a disadvantage, and I think any quarterback that goes into that might be like a 3-star is a little bit of a disadvantage in terms of how they grade and they talk about him. But Zane came away from there last year, and he'd already committed to Oklahoma State. But people are like, wow, this kid can spin it. So Kaelin's already committed to Nebraska. He'll be out there. There is Dylan Raiola, which will get a lot of run. And I think it's fair to compare, not necessarily compare Kaelin to Dylan Raiola, but you know who the quarterback that Kaelin will be competing against that I think it's fair to compare to is Dante Reno. So he's the South Carolina commit that when Raiola was iffy before he decommitted, or not decommitted, but before he chose Georgia, that was the name that you heard about because he committed to Satterfield when Satterfield was in Columbia. Okay, we're not getting Raiola. Don't know much about Kaelin. Remember, he'd already committed to Mizzou. Right. Here's the guy. Well, they both are going to be there along with Dylan Raiola. So I think I'm not going to compare Kaelin's performance and all the chatter to Raiola because they will love him at this event. But how he competes against Dante Reno, I think Danny will go there and perform well. I just, you're not one of probably not going to get to go and show out, which I think he will. And so that goes for the next 3 days. So keep an eye on that. There's 28 quarterbacks that are there. And a couple of guys that are the future Big Ten quarterbacks, not just Kaelin. Michigan has their big stud Davis that's going to be there.
Well, and you mentioned Dante Reno. That was exactly where everybody's mind went because of the Satterfield connection. But and this is more of a question for you because you know more about him as a person mentally and Danny Kaelin. Do you think any of that whole, Raiola is going to be here? There's going to be, people still trying to size this up to see if Nebraska got the better, not the better end, but I don't know. Do you think that there's any of that pressure that kind of comes with it?
No pressure. I just think there's like the competitive part.
Yeah.
Like, okay, that was the guy that they were chasing. They let me know. He went to Georgia, and I think Georgia has both of their quarterbacks are in the Elite 11 camp. I would think the competitive part would be like, no, I'm going to hold my own here.
Yeah. And I hope, obviously, I think we all hope that that's the case too. I'm curious on when you're in that, it's an interesting situation that he finds himself in there. But again, not knowing him, I would kind of agree with you. Like you see that as an opportunity. not to overdo the whole chip on the shoulder type feel, but yeah, from a competitive standpoint, be like, all right, I'm gonna show everyone what's up as well. That I'm not the consolation prize.
You can't overlook that having a Nebraska high school quarterback in a state that up until Harburg, as a Power 5 guy, we have to go back to right here in town with Mr. Marsh, or even Alan Everidge. I mean, it's been few and far between.
I remember watching Alan Everidge.
But I think it's a big deal that Nebraska's had a high school quarterback that has been in this for 2 straight years.
Yeah.
All right, so that goes for the next 3 days. All right, coming up the next hour, we'll get into some golf. Also, Jordan Larson, what that means. She talked to the media last night. At the age of 36, she's still playing that high-level volleyball. Hello, my friend, on Flag Day, which there's more. No.
Bury the lead.
Playing at that level on Flag Day.
Yes. Yeah, that was kind of an odd transition, wasn't it?
It's like Jordan Larson's success at this age,
No.
playing at the high level, has
Wait
a lot to
minute.
do
No,
with Flag Day.
I'm going to dig myself out here. If you are playing for Team USA.
Oh, sure. Okay.
Yeah, isn't
all right,
Flag Day
all
a
right,
big deal?
All right. Okay.
Now, what if
it's about country?
What if we also find out that Jordan Larson is a huge fan of The Simpsons? Do you remember the episode where Homer was hired to write Chinese fortune cookies?
I do not remember this episode.
So this Chinese restaurant hired Homer to write the fortune in the Chinese cookies because he was complaining that the current fortunes were unimaginative.
Okay.
So Mr. Burns is in this Chinese restaurant, ironically on Flag Day, and his fortune says, "You will find true love on Flag Day."
So is it being more specific? Oh, that's great.
And you call me Rain Man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That made my day.
I've seen many Simpsons episodes. That one that flew by me, but that's a good point.
951-1620. Do you believe that you can find true love on Flag Day?
Yeah. Should this be considered a romantic
Will you be
holiday?
swiping right today?
Where will you go to find true love on Flag Day? Like, do you go to a place that flies flags? Like, do you go to Perkins or the U-Stops and you stand there and you look at their enormous flags
The
and
big
go,
flags.
I hope somebody is doing the same thing.
Yep. The conversation today, advertisements, hopefully they are really pushing. We are the ones with the big flag. Yep, absolutely.
That's it. Hey,
We are the ones.
Hey,
find the big flag.
Mark Whitehead and Lincoln. I know this is a huge ask. You're not dropping some gas prices, but you got the biggest flag in all of Lincoln. Maybe we give a little discount at the U-Stop today.
Wouldn't be against it.
It's probably about the Perkins. The Perkins had gigantic flags.
Yep.
What other business here in town has gigantic flags?
Amigos has one on 144.
Oh, Amigos is huge.
Why would
flag?
Amigos have a huge American flag?
Oh, no. It's an Amigos flag.
Oh,
but
yeah,
it's
it's
a flag.
an Amigos flag.
Oh, no.
Oh, you're
You're talking American flags only.
No. U-Stop and Perkins have American flags.
There was, I'm trying to remember the dealership. There's a car dealership in Columbus that was part of their advertisement, right under the big American flag. And it was huge. Very, very big. Couldn't miss it. As far as Omaha,
I swear there's somewhere on Dodge.
Isn't there one by the 114th and Dodge area by the First National Bank there? I think it might be First National Bank.
I'll do some research on the way home, and I'll have a report tomorrow.
Maybe if you open a checking account today.
If you're
get,
looking for
a
true
little
love
bonus.
on Flag Day, maybe go to Memorial Park.
Yeah, with the new statue up there.
You both are standing there, shoulder to shoulder, just admiring how it flaps and what it means. You strike up a conversation, and the next thing you know, you might be wrapped in a flag.
Just trying to bring people together.
Not the American flag, because that'd be like, I don't think you can do that.
No.
I think karma hits you.
Hearts on fire.
It would
stuck
just
in
have
my
to
head
be
now.
like a regular flag, like a Chiefs Nation flag, Chiefs Kingdom flag.
You can do better than that.
No?
You can do better than that.
Would I be allowed to fly my Chiefs Kingdom flag today?
It didn't specify which flag for Flag
yeah.
Day. I don't think
Isn't
so.
it just,
Yeah.
Isn't it just flag pride? Does it have to be your United States of America flag or whatever, maybe country?
I
you're
think it's
from?
any flag.
I think so too.
Just out in Greta, don't steal them, please. All right, 801. Matt Rudy coming up at the bottom of the hour to talk about the U.S. Open and more. It's mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Hey, Summer Adventures coming your way, and Woodhouse Mazda has the perfect CUV to check out today, and that is the CX-50. With its tough-looking exterior and ultra-comfortable interior, It combines the iActive all-wheel drive and an available turbo engine that is going to allow you to take on any terrain, whether you're just doing the simple vacations or maybe you're going a little bit more on the outdoors off-roading route. You got it covered in the CX-50. Interior of the CX-50 also absolutely fantastic and actually inspired by the outdoors with stitching that reflects the pattern of hiking boot laces. Yeah, that's right. And the rear doors of the 2023 Mazda CX-50 open nearly a full 90 degrees to make getting in and out of the vehicle and loading your gear as simple as can be. More than anything, this is just a fun drive that you want to experience yourself. Shop the 2023 Mazda CX-50 at Woodhouse Mazda in Bellevue or Woodhouse Place Mazda off 144th and Giles Road, where you will always enjoy a friendly and knowledgeable sales staff. You can also shop, finance, and buy online at WoodhouseMazda.com or WoodhousePlaceMazda.com with the convenience of a streamlined process that will save you time. You can chat with the sales team member online, easily schedule a test drive, check vehicle availability, even get your deal started, and so much more. Woodhouse Mazda, a drive worth experiencing.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley returns in minutes on 1620 The Zone. Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Backlund Plumbing Time-Saving Traffic Center. We're getting reports of a disabled vehicle near 42nd and Center, so please be cautious if you're in that area. On Industrial Road, be prepared for a little bit of a delay near 138th Street. And on Dodge, be prepared for just a little bit of slowdown from 94th to 90th. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott.
Father's Day is right around the corner. Tools, lawn care supplies, homegrown trees, and more. Or give Dad a Lanahaw gift card. Let us help you make this Father's Day extra special. Lanahaw Nurseries, 192nd and Center.
Hi again, everybody. Kent Pavelka courtside, getting ready for hail season with the Rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard. When hailstones fall, be sure to make the right call. Just one call to the experts at John Higgins Weather Guard to work directly with your insurance provider. With an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau for the highest level of customer service. There are so many reasons, so many fans have used the winning team for their roof at John Higgins Weather Guard. Remember, when hailstorms fall, make the right call. The Rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard.
Peerless Energy Systems is Nebraska and Iowa's locally owned and operated authorized solar air compressor distributor. Peerless Energy Systems provides products and solutions for compressed air systems, helping companies in manufacturing, food processing, transportation, auto body repair, car dealers, and more. Driving industry efficiency through service, support, and relationships, let Peerless Energy Systems help you increase efficiency with your compressed air systems today. PeerlessEnergy.com.
If you think you're having transmission problems, you need a specialist, someone who can and will tell you exactly what's wrong. At Omaha Transmission, that's what we do. Some places just want to sell you a new transmission, but at Omaha Transmission, we make repairs that other shops can't or won't. Giving you options is what's kept us in business since 2005. We've even had people hear our ads, bring in their car, and experience the exact same scenario they heard. There is a place that will diagnose and fix your transmission. That place is Omaha Transmission.
Omaha Transmission, shifting to running smooth.
This Father's Day, bring something special home from 42 Degrees for the favorite men in your life. How about a Boost EVO from our Dr. Dabber collection? Maybe a nice glass pipe starting at $9.99 or a new grinder for the low price of $11.99. How about Delta products starting at $7.99 or our premium Kratom starting at $9.99? With 9 locations, soon to be 10, the most professional, knowledgeable, and friendly staff, why shop anywhere else? 42 Degrees, by your mom's house.
Hey everyone, Josh Peterson here for my friends at Kugler Vision. Let us talk about the 3 most surprising things about modern LASIK at Kugler Vision. The first, how fast that LASIK procedure is. With Kugler Vision's leading edge technology, we're talking just a few minutes per eye. Incredibly speedy. And how about this for number 2, how comfortable the procedure is. So often from their patients, they hear, wait, that's it? It's over? They make sure that you're relaxed and comfortable, as well as knowing exactly what is happening. And this, for number 3, how quickly you can get back to normal life. Patients typically drive themselves to Kugler Vision the very next day for their follow-up visit. So you're back in action less than 24 hours later. Kugler Vision right now, they have special pre-summer savings on modern LASIK or any of their other advanced vision correction procedures. If you've ever thought about fixing your bad vision, the Kugler Vision Eye Analysis is your first step. Do so today. Schedule one online at KuglerVision.com.
Tickets for less. Best seats, best prices, no per ticket fees. Ticketsforless.com. KOZN Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone. Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Halftime, brought to you by Heart Cigars and Pipes Lounge, just off 680 and 48th Street next to Cubby's. It's Heart Cigars and Pipes Lounge.
All right, 108th and L.
Yeah.
Is the possibly the largest American flag in Omaha.
The election building.
Happy Flag Day.
Mhm.
All right, we got an update with Jimmy coming up a little bit, but let's chat with David. David, good morning. What's on your mind?
Hey, what's happening, fellas?
How you doing, my friend?
I'm not bad, man. I'm on my way to Walmart. I'm gonna go hang out in the flag aisle, see if I can light this candle.
Does any flag do, or does it need to be an American flag?
You know, I think it's the American flag.
okay.
I mean, if it works, I might come home and build a website called United We Grind or Top of the Pole and create a dating site too.
Yes.
Woo! Yeah.
Top of the pole.
Wow.
Well played.
United We
that,
Grind.
that one might go a little sideways on me.
I like the United We Grind.
Can we give him Oscars for that? Because that's good.
Outstanding.
Hey, but I want to talk about Kalen, man. So, so you know, most people that listen probably know that I'm a huge local advocate for kids, but this, you know, something's definitely different about Kalen. I've liked Kalen, you know, the entire time I've been to games. I've seen him compete. You know, that competitive edge, like you talked about, is definitely there. But when he flipped to Nebraska, you know, there's no pressure with this kid. He is elated to be home. And I just want people to know that, like, I don't know who follows him, who watches him, but he is out there doing everything not only to be successful for himself, but to bring people to Nebraska. Like he is advocating for the school and getting people here. And he's extremely happy to be playing for Nebraska, which is, I'm not going to say it's been missing, but that's exactly what is needed. Is we need those core individuals that it actually means something to play for this team, and that they're going to advocate for it with any and everybody. I mean, that's kind of what I'm taking away from him right now is just how happy he is to be where he is and get the opportunity that he is. And I don't think he feels the pressure whatsoever.
No, and I don't think there's pressure on him to, hey, you're our guy in 24, because they want to make sure Jeff Sims sticks around for 2 years. And I don't think, you know, he's going to walk in the door and people aren't going to go, oh, here is the next. I think he can be a really good, solid college quarterback that does quarterback things the right way. And you know what I mean, from footwork, pocket awareness, those kind of things. And you can't compare him to Jeff Sims because Jeff Sims is a true dual threat guy. They're not going to want Kalen to be that. And he can't, and he can run. He doesn't have cement feet. I think he's become a smarter runner when it's time to tuck it and go. So their offense will change. If he's the guy in 25, their offense will change to more of a little play action. And, you know, he's playing with college level wide receivers. If he can just play pitch and catch and run some play action, I mean, he's got a chance to have a nice college career.
And I think people might underestimate his mobility. Like he's not Sims, right? But I do know that that Kalen has worked on his mobility, or at least Huffman's worked on his mobility with him.
Yep.
You know, I still am very curious to see how the offense shakes out with Rule. You know, I remember looking up his stats from Baylor, and his quarterback never averaged more than 400 yards rushing in a year. So for me, it was curious to get a guy like Sims because he's so mobile. And I mean, the guy is, you know, crazy electric on tape. You know, we'll see what he does with the passes. He's going to have a different receiver group and hopefully won't throw 14 interceptions. But, you know, the offensive portion really has me curious because what he brought in initially doesn't necessarily support what he has done in the past. But, you know, coaches grow, offenses grow, right? You get different schemes and mindsets. So, but I just want to see that. Keep an eye out, though. I'm gonna, I'll shoot you guys a link to that, that United We Grind and what
United
we make happen.
We'll retweet it.
Hey, David, thanks for the phone call.
United We Grind.
You could have maybe the Charlie Brewer kind of offense with Jeff Sims and then transfer over to a Spencer Rattler type of offense that Satterfield ran last year at South Carolina. Now, here's the thing that's a little bit different is they are going to be fairly balanced. I mean, their commitment to the run game is real, and it'll take some pressure off the quarterback where it's not so quarterback-centric like, i.e., Adrian Martinez's turn. But play action will become an important part. But the first 2 years, I think you'll see a different kind of offense. And then as you recruit quarterbacks like Kalen, who aren't going to have the speed of Jeff Sims or the threat to pull it down and take off like that, or be part of an RPO game on a consistent basis. Not saying that Danny can't do it. I think you'll see once you start in 25 a little bit of a different offense. But running the football will be first and foremost. So that'll dictate a little bit what the quarterback does.
Yeah, the commitment to building up the offensive line, too. I just would think as the recruiting classes, you go further along under Matt Rule, and even Marcus Satterfield, you're going to be able to compete with the best. And so to think that what you see this year is how this offense is going to be 5 years down the road is probably a little bit off because they're working with what they have right now. And then to be able to kind of identify, recruit, and find the guys they feel and develop them. Yeah, I think that it's natural that you're going to see a little bit of shift from, and I think that's a good comparison of what they did at Baylor, where you had a far more athletic quarterback that could hurt you with his legs compared to a Spencer Rattler that Marcus Satterfield had, where you can do a little bit of that, but you'd like the quarterback to be more of a facilitator, a guy who can throw the ball, but also has that luxury of having a reliable offensive line and a backfield that you've got a couple of guys.
Yeah, I noticed watching some film of the stuff that Bellevue West has started this summer, whether it be they had the passing league against Millard South or some of the other videos I've seen of Kalen. So I was not all in when last year began and saw him play against Prep, and I was like, okay, this guy looks different from sophomore to junior, and he grew as the season went along. I almost think that his release is a little bit quicker than it was at the end of last year. And if that's the case, that's scary for teams in the Metro that got to go against him. He's also smarter throwing the football. He had a big boy arm that thought he could throw into these tight windows and he'd get away with it.
Yeah.
Wasn't necessarily the case. Now he's smarter. I think his cerebral part of the game is going to set him apart when he gets to a place like Nebraska. All right, David, thanks for the phone call. Matt Rudy coming up bottom of the hour. Update with Jimmy now.
That's an understatement. That was a great phone call. The Storm Chasers, they're playing pretty great. They won a 6th straight game last night, taking the series opener against Columbus, 6-5 at Werder Park, as the Chasers scored all 6 runs over the final 3 innings. Omaha goes for their 7th straight win, a day game today at 12:05. Right-hander Alec Marsh makes his 2023 Omaha debut. This is good stuff. Nebraska staged its first fullback camp on Tuesday afternoon, and to commemorate the event, the Huskers have offered a fullback. Wahoo Newman fullback Connor Booth, a 2025 prospect who averaged 13 yards per carry last season, announced on social media he'd picked up his first offer from the Huskers. A 6'2", 212-pounder, also a standout baseball player, rushed for 964 yards last season on just 72 carries. He often lined up as a single back in their offense, but he did so just 3 yards behind the quarterback, making him a unique weapon for Newman, who finished 8-2. Fullback camp. I can get behind that. Yeah.
Hopefully Judd Davies made an appearance.
Just roll out a cast.
Just bring out all the fullbacks. Like that would. I'm not even joking. Like you just bring the fullbacks out, see if Schlesinger can still make his way out there.
I think
maybe Makovic is coming out.
I think Andy Janovich was involved.
Was he? That'd be awesome. Especially a guy who's still recognizable in the league. No,
I don't. Is Andy Janovich is he more recognizable holding a turkey in bib overalls or in a football uniform?
Locally, probably the latter.
Yeah.
But yeah. It's a good question, but I still think.
I would think Wisconsin might recognize him when he was running right down the middle of the field.
We all remember the Wisconsin game, the game that could have been. So I thought, there we go. Gonna win this one.
As Nikola Jokic waits to finally go home, the numbers continue to come in as a bow gets tied on the NBA season.
When is buried.
Yeah.
Oh, no, that's not going to work.
Oh, no. I got to go home. I got a horse race on Sunday.
Yeah, we'll hopefully have some coverage of that here when we come back next week.
God, I love that guy. He also, by the way, shook every Miami Heat player fan before he celebrated in Jokic style, how he celebrates.
Yeah, I did notice that. Everybody, he
Mhm.
made his way.
He's one of us. I can't relate to his size or his ability on the basketball floor, but I can relate to, I just want to go home.
Yeah.
No more work.
Been a long season.
No more work. I go home.
Parade.
You'll have to, use
That's
that at some
for
point
you.
this year.
For you have parade.
After the College World Series there. No more work. Time to go home. ABC, ESPN, and TNT averaged 5.47 million viewers per game during the NBA playoffs, the most watched playoffs in 5 years. As for the NBA Finals, ABC brought in an average of 11.64 million viewers, a decrease from 2022, not by much, though, when a 6-game series between the Warriors and Celtics averaged 12.4 million. The finals concluded Monday night with the Nuggets defeating the Heat in 5 games for the first NBA title in franchise history. Game 5 averaged just over 13 million viewers, according to Nielsen. That was a 4-year high, slightly beating out last year's NBA Finals Game 5 between the Warriors and Celtics. I don't get it. I was told they were going to be terribly rated.
This
No
is-
watch, no one cares.
Yeah. Hate these finals. These are no good. These two teams, no. And then you watch.
Had it been a longer series, would have been even better. 19 players have been invited to sit in the green room at next Thursday's NBA draft. Victor Wembanyama, Brandon Miller, Scoot Henderson, Amen Thompson, Asar Thompson, Cameron Whitmore, Jarris Walker, Anthony Black, Taylor Hendricks, and Grady Dick received the first batch of 10 invites over the weekend. This year, players will be allowed to invite 10 people with them to sit at their individual tables, up from 5 in years past. Okay. Football free agent running back Dalvin Cook said Tuesday he's in no rush to sign with a new team after being released by the Vikings last week. Appearing on the Rich Eisen show, Cook said he will prioritize fit for me and my family, as we all should, and an organization that values him when he does pick a new team. The oldest professional ballpark in the country will host the Giants and St. Louis Cardinals in the 2024 Field of Dreams game, according to the San Francisco Chronicle. Rickwood Field in Birmingham, Alabama, which opened in 1910, will be the site of the annual game. According to the report, Major League Baseball has not made any comment about the game as of Tuesday.
So are we going back to Dyersville anytime soon?
Remember, because of Frank Thomas is spearheading it, they have redone that whole area. So it's under construction. So they weren't going to play there this year.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's the novelty, and a lot of it has to do with the teams. Like the first year having the White Sox and the Yankees was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Cubs and the Reds didn't move the meter. Now, so you go back to London. So London, they've been lucky.
Yeah.
They did the Yankees, Red Sox, and now they're doing the Cubs Cards. So it's about the teams.
Mm-hmm.
Like
So no Rays, A's.
4 years ago yesterday, we had the Major League Baseball game downtown. It was the Royals Tigers. Both those teams were really bad. So there's not the excitement to come back. I think a lot of it has to do with the teams. I think it's unique. I don't know if you guys have ever been to this ballpark. It is cool. It is really, really cool. It means a lot to that community. They didn't tear it down. It has a ton of history. And I think this will be a cool event that Major League Baseball is investing in. So that means the Cards and the Giants will be all in on as well, because Major League Baseball, I don't think fully invested in the game here. And as a result, it hasn't come back and probably never will. They've invested in the Little League game. So teams invest in it as well. It's all about how Major League Baseball approaches it. But I like that they're bouncing around and doing this. You know, they've embraced Mexico. Remember, they used to go to Puerto Rico. I mean, they're all in on Mexico, and the Padres playing there helps, and you get a West Coast team as well. When I heard this announced yesterday, I thought it was pretty cool. I know people are wondering about the Field of Dreams. I think it'll come back, but it's got to be the right teams. Got to be the right teams to really make it unique.
So
this field's a time capsule. This is cool.
You mentioned you've been to this field in Birmingham. Is it so? Is it active? Is it a minor league ballpark right now, or is it just?
There's a lot of colleges will play there, youth will play there.
Oh, okay.
It's still active.
Okay. No, it's cool.
Oh wow, yeah.
And I like those old ballparks with charm. I mean, hell, during this time of the year, we used to have one of those.
So the Southern League Negro Museum is there as well.
Oh, okay.
And it's just like a shrine to baseball in the South.
I'll have to find out if my
they never tore it down. It's a historical landmark.
Okay. My in-laws lived in Birmingham for a little bit. I'll have to ask if they've been there. Well, and I see, and I like when it started with the Little League World Series doing that. capitalizing on the eyeballs that were on it. And I think for those kids that are a part of the Little League World Series, which is obviously a once-in-a-lifetime experience on its own, then to be able to interact with your idols, your heroes, is so cool. I love the idea of when they had the game here before the College World Series, because it was an easy segue of, hey, the stars of tomorrow are going to be playing starting tomorrow, but here are the big boys right now. It made sense, but I think you know a little bit more about it as far as how it kind of unwinded and stuff like that too. Yeah, it was kind of, again, it was an event. I wouldn't say it was must-see baseball or anybody was more excited about that than they were of the weekend ahead. So when you do go to maybe these non-traditional markets and places that have a chance to really embrace it and you get the full backing of Major League Baseball, yeah, it's probably going to be a monster. And I hope that happens throughout the country. I hope you're able to do that at some of those non-traditional markets and ballparks like that.
I mean, Birmingham's kind of an interesting area. So you have the Hoover, Alabama, where they host the SEC.
Mm-hmm.
The minor league team there, the Birmingham Barons, have their own ballpark, Regions Field in Birmingham?
Yes.
And then you have Rickwood Field. All three really good ballparks right there in the Birmingham area. So what is the next venue that you would go to in the United States to play a game?
Sherman Field. No, I'm kidding.
I wish they would have preserved Sherman Field in its old state.
Yeah, it was cool. I liked playing there in high school. It was like one of the very few places that had kind of like a grandstand, and it kind of had an old school look to it.
I mean, you'd have to start thinking like outside of the box. You can't now. You could harken back to the days when the Dodgers were playing in the LA Coliseum.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't now because they've completely refigured it either for football only or for auto racing. But stuff like that. You got to think outside of the box. Like, you know what, Mr. Alberts, you got volleyball day in Nebraska where you're going to draw 90,000. What about Nebraska softball with Jordy Ball in the circle playing in Memorial Stadium? They do it in February in the Unidome.
Oh, you talked about doing that after Nebraska announced that.
Wouldn't that be something? You take their best player and you take their idea.
I wonder if Grasso's is cordial about the parting of ways if something like that happens.
Invite Oklahoma up to play.
There you go.
See,
there you go. Problem solved.
90,000 people in Memorial Stadium for a softball game.
I love it.
You can have a Brahms truck come up to make him feel at home.
I love it. That's a good idea.
All right. Thanks, Jimmy. Coming up from Golf Digest, Matt Rudy will join us. The LA Country Club is the host of the U.S. Open. The major chaser, Brooks Koepka, looks like he's feeling pretty good. Man, he's likable. That is a competitive SOB. He doesn't give an F, and he's just there for the majors and to win, and you're not going to disrupt him. Of all the guys that went to live and, people got triggered, Brooks Koepka to me is still just Brooks Koepka. He is one of my favorite golfers just because of how he carries himself. Again, doesn't give an F. He just shows everybody his trophies that he wins in the majors.
Yeah.
He just goes out and plays golf. And people were trying to get at him yesterday about live and the PGA. And he was like, I embrace chaos. Let's go. And then he got up and said, hey, I'll see you all next week at the Travelers.
Exactly. And he's right. Funny, I think a lot of people's opinions on certain golfers when they defected over to live probably changed for the worse. I know so many people who loved Phil have such a tough time with Phil right now. And I get that. It's odd for me personally. I thought I became, found myself anyway, liking Brooks Koepka more when he went to live, because if you do remember, there was that moment where Brooks had knocked down a couple of majors, and he was one of those guys, kind of like I was compared to Georgia, that sort of created that weird chip on his shoulder because in one of the Fox promos, he wasn't the first guy that was shown and stuff. Like he got kind of complainy about things that were like, come on, dude, really? And so he did sort of try to create this like underdog narrative when he had like the best odds to win every golf event coming up. So that to me kind of got annoying. But out of all the guys that defected, between him and DJ, just completely laid low, didn't say anything about it. They just wanted to golf.
Yeah.
And anybody who's watched Full Swing, like DJ, when DJ put it the way that he did of, I get paid a lot more money, play less golf. If you are in your line of work and you are told that you're going to work less and make more money, You tell me you would turn that down? He goes, if you do turn that down, there's something wrong with you.
Hell no, I'd do that. I'd be Pat Sajak in a minute.
Right. But Koepka has, and even just like the way he carried himself in the PGA Championship, the way that he was kind of going about it, just laser focus, as we remember seeing Brooks Koepka, but not letting any of the live circus sort of become part of the narrative. I continue to really respect him a lot more than I did before he went to live. And so is he like one of my favorite golfers right now? I wouldn't say he's one of my favorite, but I definitely like him a lot more than I did before he went to live.
And isn't he with Rory?
Yes, he is. Yeah, he and Rory are in it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know there's the insanity of last week and the discussion, which has kind of been tampered down.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at me on the outside, I just like that you have two of the best golfers are playing together, and we can just talk about golf.
Yep.
We got McIlroy and Koepka that are playing together.
And I think that's what the USGA wants.
Oh, yeah. We determine our national champion.
Yeah.
Come on.
To try to keep the whole live thing out of it, even with the news that dropped last week of the merger, and it's still going to be in the background. It's when you look at the pairings and you see some of the live golfers with also whether they're up and comers or just very, recognizable PGA guys. I think once we get the golf going tomorrow, I think it's going to be all about that.
I agree. Matt Rudy will join us a little bit. Kirk Sarlos, head baseball coach at TCU from Fort Worth, will join us coming up in the next hour. Brandon Vogel as well on Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone. Hey, Woodhouse Buick GMC is the place to go first. Experience the difference. Purchase with confidence. And trust me, you will not be, as I should put it, you will not be disappointed is the best way. My lease is up. I'm now searching for a new vehicle. And what got me really excited was the notice that there is a great offer right now. Now, if you go to 119th and I, climate-controlled indoor showroom, they've got plenty of inventory. They simply have something for everyone, whether it be a stylish SUV, capable truck, or, the 23 GMC Sierra 1500, which right now you can get $2,000 off MSRP, $1,500 off MSRP on a nice SUV, the GMC Acadia 2023. See dealer for details. You can see more information online as well. That's right. You can do it in person or you can do it online. I purchased my last vehicle online. It was very, very easy. Interacted with the knowledgeable sales staff. I filled out a credit application. I valued my trade. I was all set to go, and I made the purchase. So you can do it in person, 119th and I, or online at WoodhouseBuickGMC.com. GMC, we are professional grade.
Gary Sharp, Nick Handley, and Jimmy Chavez. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Weekdays 6 to 10 on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Mornings on 1620 The Zone is brought to you by MD West One Orthopedics, Neurosurgery, and Spine. Previously on Unsportsmanlike Conduct.
We have NIL, we have transfer portal, we have conference realignment. Do we need like a new scandal?
Man, I just love the games. I just like games. Well, people don't like the NBA because it's all drama. They don't like the games. People love all the drama. That's what college football turns into for 9 months.
Well, have you seen the non-conference schedule? It sucks.
Man, it is pretty bad.
It sucks.
Unsportsmanlike Conduct with John Bishop and Josh Peterson. Weekdays 2 to 6 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast presented by Funplex Water Park and Rides from the KETV Newswatch 7 Weather Center on 1620 The Zone.
Heating up a bit more on Wednesday. Expect mostly sunny skies throughout the day. Winds remain light and variable. Dew points fairly comfortable as well, with highs climbing into the upper 80s. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV Newswatch 7.
The Zone Hotline is powered by 42 Degrees. The Source. By your mom's house.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Backlund Plumbing Time-Saving Traffic Center. We're getting reports of a disabled vehicle near 42nd and Center, so please be cautious if you're in that area. On Industrial Road, be prepared for a little bit of a delay near 138th Street. And on Dodge, be prepared for just a little bit of slowdown from 94th to 90th. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic is brought to you by Backlund Plumbing.
Backlund Plumbing is the most referred plumber in town, and that's because of our professional plumbers. If you'd like to join the Backlund Plumbing team, go to BacklundPlumbing.com.
Backlund Plumbing, the most referred plumber in town.
Hi, this is Doug Nodgard with Equitable Bank.
great service never goes out of style. When the digital age dawned, many said computers would be able to handle many of the interactions that used to take a person. Boy, were they wrong. How many times have you called your bank and gotten a recording to press 1 or 2? Not at Equitable. Not only does Equitable answer your call on the first ring, it's answered by a human being. That's because Equitable Bank values its customers. Equitable Bank, we take banking personally. Member FDIC.
It's good to be able to make a change, to never feel stuck. That's why at Cox, we're making a change too. Now Cox Internet plans are flexible, so you can choose to just go with Internet, add TV tomorrow, or home automation down the line. It's easier than ever to get just what you want and nothing you don't. Flexible plans from Cox. Change anytime. No commitments, no penalties. See for yourself at cox.com/internet. Additional services can be added at then current regular rates. All services subject to residential customer service agreement and acceptable use policy. Restrictions apply.
Your family's comfort and safety are a top priority. If your current air conditioner isn't getting the job done, Thermal is here to help. We understand you need affordable equipment you can count on. This spring, get a high-efficiency Linux air conditioner installed with no interest and no payments for 6 months. You'll save now with rebates and federal tax credits, and later on your energy bills. Call today and you'll be cool before the heat of summer sets in. At Thermal, we make you and your home comfortable. Visit thermalservices.com.
Dazzling decal on Daisy's Donuts window. Bold banner at Barry's Barbershop. Prominent poster at Penny's on Park Place.
This is your sign. Well, signs. To try Staples and see the difference. Get $15 off signs, banners, and posters when you spend $75 or more.
From Staples, and I couldn't miss it.
N617. Visit staplesconnect.com/printbig for details.
It's Macy's Father's Day sale. Take an extra 25% off great gifts for every dad with your coupon or Macy's card. Or shop Father's Day specials like 40 to 50% off classic styles from INC, Alfani, and more. 25 to 40% off activewear essentials from Adidas, Reebok, and more. And 40% off designer watches to update his look. Give love, give style. Now at Macy's. Savings off regular sale and clearance prices. Exclusions apply.
And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
LA Country Club hosting the U.S. Open for the first time. Beautiful course, as you would expect. The setup is so on par with the U.S. Open as we welcome in our good friend from Golf Digest, Matt Rudy. Good morning, Matt.
How are you?
Good. Hey, as you know, so many different courses that are set up for the U.S. Open, how difficult they are, and it's supposed to be challenging for 72 holes. When you look at the setup this week, is it hard or is it stupid hard?
Oh, that's a good question because there's definitely been stretches of time. I've been doing this going on 28 years, and there's been just in that time period, there's been stretches where you see purple green, dead greens, drop the ball and it rolls 100 yards back down the fairway. Where I don't even know that identifies the best players. It just identifies who can hit it down a hallway and get lucky around the green. But recently they've done a much better job of setups where it requires they're demanding, the shots are demanding, and it requires precision in all parts of your game, and it's the right kind of hard. And from what I've seen, and I just had an evening last night with a couple of Golf Digest top 50 teachers and some caddies where we kind of sussed this out. I think they've got a great combination of gettable holes here, just really tough holes, and then holes that require some decision making where you can make some choices. There's a par 3 that they could potentially play at 78 yards, which I don't think I've ever heard that or would have even conceived that would be possible at a U.S. Open. But not only could they play it at 78 yards, but there are players that are saying you couldn't hit it right at the flag because the green and where you need to land it is so demanding on a 78 or 80 yard shot. And I think that's what I like about the U.S. Open, where there's some choices.
If you go back, and I think it was it 2015 was that Chambers Bay, and that was the Spieth U.S. Open. I remember the criticism by the players of the way that course was set up. Have we seen, I mean, I guess maybe the better question is, was a lot of that input from the players did you feel like that not fall on deaf ears with the USGA, where they wanted to make sure that, okay, again, kind of going back to what Gary asked, the difference between, hard and stupid hard, that was maybe the last straw of kind of keeping everything in mind on how these course setups are going to go forward?
Yeah, and I think the undercurrent of that was the thought from the players that the committees and the people responsible for setting up the U.S. Open were a bunch of amateur guys who were business people who just did this kind of stuff on the weekend one year. And if you took the average PGA Tour event, it's a professional staff that sets up those courses, and they are impressively talented at tuning a course to get it exactly the way a tournament director or the PGA Tour wants the tournament to play. And I think the undercurrent for the U.S. Open and the USGA has always been, well, we'll set this course up and you'll just have to deal with it. I think there's much better communication. I think there's the U.S. Open obviously has a place as a major on the schedule, and they want to make it distinctive and play differently than the other majors. So I understand that part of it, but I also think they want players to be coming off the course at the end of it and saying, this place smacked me around and it was super hard, but it was unbelievably fair, and the conditioning was what it needed to be. The Chambers Bay example you gave was a good one. I just don't think the players felt the level of conditioning was good enough that if you hit a putt on and you hit an exactly true putt on a green, the green didn't reward you with what you just did. It was hitting it on kind of you hit it and it went on a meandering path where it was just a cat.
Yeah.
And I think you want to take out as much guessing as you can and make it demanding and fair.
This is we could be sitting here talking about Brooks Koepka trying to go 3-0 in the majors because he had that 54-hole lead at Augusta. What he did at Oak Hill. Now, he's never won consecutive majors, but he had that stretch. He had 3 in a span of about 11 months. But when it comes to this event, Matt, why do you think, and we know, as we just discussed and you laid out, mere mortals, they fall apart. But he doesn't seem fazed by U.S. Open setups. Why is that the case?
Well, I think not only is he not fazed by hard golf courses, he thrives because he understands one reality, that there's a big wide swath of the field that is teeing it up they have no chance to win because they don't believe they can deal with what's about to come at him. So I've heard him say before that he loves coming to majors because there's just a section of players he doesn't have to consider. The group of people he has to deal with is smaller. And then just yesterday he was saying here that he enjoys the chaos. When you get to a major, especially one this week where everyone is asking questions about the live stuff and there's so much swirling around in the world of golf, when he can get to a place like this and know that his routine, where he plays 9 holes a day, where he just sort of hides away in the house that he rents, and he's got a routine that he goes through with food, and he's got a chef with him to make the food, and he's very specific about what he does every day, and a lot of it is laying on the couch watching ESPN. I think he knows that the formula he's found for getting ready and the ability to block out the distractions and not be complaining about the conditioning or completely like, hey, it's raining, or hey, I got a tee time that's in the afternoon versus the morning. I think there are fewer people he feels like he has to deal with this week than at a normal event.
Matt, and we'll get to the field here in a moment too. The big news about a week ago was the merger that everybody's talking about, and I know you have your ear to the ground. You were following, both entities since Live became a thing. Was this something that you were hearing rumblings was in the works, or did this take you by surprise as much as it seemed to take a lot of the PGA members by surprise?
I don't think a resolution took me by surprise, but the speed that it happened, the complete lack of vibrations in the ground, like you were just saying, that was the part that's surprising. And then this was just a tiny little group of people that were getting together to make this happen. And it all happened within a span of 6 or 8 weeks. I think everybody who looked at the financials of this knew that somewhere there had to become a unified group. There had to be one entity that was putting on all these tournaments because the money wasn't there to support the players. The way the players are getting paid, the way Live is the Saudi Public Investment Fund was fire hosing money into the sport. It just wasn't, that competition wasn't sustainable in the long term for 5, 10, 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anybody was ready for them to decide. And then now you basically went from we hate each other. There's all kinds of insults and lots of statements about morality and how the players never have to apologize for the tour they plan. We went from that to a joint press conference and people talking about how much they respected each other, and this was a great opportunity for golf. That was very abrupt and very quick.
So, are we any further? Do we know anything else since that all came out? I mean, it seems like we have a lot of people talking, but we don't have like any more information.
It doesn't surprise me that there's not a lot of information because it's a very delicate negotiation to get something done that can pass through all the congressional antitrust oversight. I think, honestly, they probably revealed too much already. The PGA Tour, when this happened, put out a press release. The headline of the press release called it a merger. And then Jay Monahan, the commissioner, came out and talked about how he had an opportunity to take a competitor off the table. And those kinds of things are great rhetoric, and it makes for a great quote, and you can see why somebody would characterize it that way. But it's like all this securities law, the specific words you use when you look at an email, what kind of information you have. Those are all things that regulators look at when they're trying to decide if this is something that can go through. Now, I don't believe that you have the lobbying power that the PGA Tour has, the lobbying power that the Saudis have in the U.S. government, and the money that they're willing to spend on supporting certain people in Congress. I don't think you make this kind of deal without having some idea of where it's going to go through. But there's a reason they try to keep as many people out of those meetings as possible. If you don't want a bunch of people saying kind of 10% of the information they know and making a big information tornado that forces someone to come in and say, hey, this is something that's not good for the sport.
Matt Rudy from Golf Digest joining us. A lot of people talk about Koepka like we did, Scheffler, Rahm. I want to go a little bit outside because I like him. He hasn't won a major. He has had a weird, a good start. He's popular. He's flamboyant. I'm talking Ricky Fowler. And then all of a sudden his game falls apart. Matt, so watching him at Jack's place, where he had a chance to win on the back nine, he's got back-to-back top 10 finishes. Is there a possibility that the resurgence for Ricky Fowler is real and that maybe he has a chance to get to Sunday here?
Sure. I mean, we were still talking about a guy that finished, second or top 5 in all 4 majors in 1 year. And, so he has the skill, but the issue you run into with Ricky Fowler is even when he was at the peak of his powers, like you said, this is not something he's done before. So, do I think he's in that category of players where they're playing well enough to have the tools to do this? And the advantage any player has here this week is that you don't have to be one particular style of player. You don't have to bomb it. You don't have to be a guy who carries it 310 yards in the air. The only things you need to have at this place, you have to have a lot of short game resiliency. You have to have a lot of resiliency in general because people are going to make bogeys, and you have to be able to understand the topography of these fairways. Where if you've got a right to left shaped hole and the fairway does a certain thing, you've got to be able to turn the ball into some of these slopes so that you just don't get a slingshot effect where the ball follows the contour of the hole and just runs out into these super deep rough areas. All those things are things Ricky Fowler at the peak of his powers, thrived on. He loved to see shots and put shots in a specific window and turn the ball over and cut it. Those are all things he can do and that he loves to do. If I'm putting my money down, do I think this is the first time he can do it? I think there's other guys I would pick before I pick him.
That was another guy I was going to ask about as well. But Looking at some of the previous winners and guys have sort of up and down careers here as of late. I brought up Chambers Bay. The person who won that was Jordan Spieth. There's the wrist. It seems like he's maybe over that, but is this course kind of similar to Chambers Bay? As you kind of go back to, you mentioned, you don't have to have one specific style. And if you can be creative with the short game, is that something that, in your opinion, could give a guy like Jordan Spieth an advantage?
Oh, there's no doubt. And the shots we've seen him hit anywhere from Open Championships to the Masters to the U.S. Open, just at standard tour events. If you need a guy to pull out a bunker shot or do some crazy thing around the green, that's your guy. The wrist thing, that's a big deal because I think, as we've seen, Tiger Woods won a U.S. Open with a broken leg. There's not going to be a guy ever who wins a U.S. Open with a broken wrist. I mean, there's just so much torque and so much. I mean, you're smashing into the ground hundreds and hundreds of times a day. You're trying to practice, and even if the wrist is structurally okay, I can remember doing a big story with Ernie Els years ago, and he blew out his knee, and he has the best surgeons on the planet. They fixed everything, but it was a long time before he could get over in his mind the fact that if he hit a shot, it wasn't going to hurt.
Right.
And those little subtle changes, just a little flinch, just a little worry that's going to hurt when you come through and do something, especially at a place where the rough is as thick as it is here. I don't know what his health situation is, but if that's an issue for him, that might be the one that's too hard to overcome.
Hey, Matt, when do you get off the Justin Thomas roller coaster? It has been quite the season for him.
It has. The putting thing is a big deal, and it's really been interesting because if you watch Scotty Scheffler for the last few weeks, Scotty Scheffler at the Memorial had one of the greatest ball striking tournaments ever in the history of the PGA Tour, and he finished last in putting, and it was almost, the ball striking was almost good enough to win the tournament anyway. And what that starts to do is, you see Scotty this week, it's Monday at the U.S. Open, and he's got a completely different putter model out there that he's trying. And you can tell that when those things happen, the issue leaks backward into your game. All of a sudden, you feel like you got to hit every wedge shot super close. All of a sudden, you feel like you got to hit every fairway because you got to hit every iron shot close. That's the issue that Justin Thomas is dealing with. It's can I excuse me? Can I make enough putts to support what I can do off the tee and with my iron play? I don't know what the putting crisis is for him, but I'm taking the guy, and this is why peak Tiger Woods was so amazing, because whatever was happening off the tee, he had some crazy years where he just couldn't drive it.
Yeah.
The short game and the putting, I mean, the guy never missed a putt he needed to make for 10 years. And I mean, that's the worrisome part for me with Justin Thomas.
Real quickly, and I know what happened last week on top of all the news, but I felt like if this happened at a major, we would remember that moment forever. But the Nick Taylor putts and sort of the subsequent, you get Adam Hadwin getting smoked by a security guard, like just the chaos, but seeing that in the home country, hadn't seen it since the 50s that a Canadian had actually won that event. From just the improbable make of a 70-foot plus putt to win it to everything that transpired after, does this go down as one of the more chaotic yet awesome things for golf? Like, golf needs more of those moments.
Oh, I think what it does is it shows you that there's an avenue for something to happen at an event that doesn't demand the biggest A-list star. I mean, we've seen it at the PGA. Michael Block, the PGA pro who qualified and finished 15th, made a hole-in-one, got him into the PGA next year. That's all everybody was talking about for a while. And if you'd asked anyone on the planet a week earlier who that was, nobody would be able to tell you. So I think when you have interesting stories, you have heroic endings. What the tour has to have, and I say tour meaning if it's PGA Tour, Live, it doesn't matter what tour you're talking about. You need to have a mixture of established stars and young players and interesting stories, and there has to be something on the line, and it has to be bigger than the money. Money is a part of it, obviously, but what made that story so cool is it's a guy winning his home country event. It's this incredible heroic shot in a big moment in a playoff, and the natural emotion that came out when that happened. If you see someone cash a check for $8 million for winning, whether it's a live event or the Players Championship. I don't care what event you're talking about. If a player rolls it up there to a foot and taps it in to win $8 million and kind of raises his hand like he's in a Memorial Day parade or something, that drains some of the enthusiasm out of the fans.
Right.
Because if it's not a big deal to them, why should it be a big deal to me?
Yeah.
Great stuff, Matt. We appreciate it. Enjoy the U.S. Open. We always look forward to the conversation.
You bet.
That's Matt Rudy from Golf Digest. We'll give our favorites tomorrow. But it's for the Justin Thomas. That is, I was looking yesterday because I was watching one of his interviews. Man, he's had a wild year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Masters, tied for 65th?
Yep.
At the PGA.
And I mean,
he's only 30.
He won the PGA Championship a year ago, but the struggles that you see, and I'm glad you asked about Ricky Fowler because I was going to ask as well. Kind of like what Spieth did, where he had that lull before he won the RBC Heritage, and just watch him try to get his swing back was like painful. Ricky Fowler had that long drought, but now you start to see him creeping his way back up too. I wonder if Justin Thomas is on a similar path to where he's again mentally fighting it when it comes to the greens right now because he's so damn talented.
Well, we'll give our picks tomorrow. All three of us will do that. Kirk Sarlo's coming up in the next hour. Brandon Vogel as well. Plus, we'll discuss tomorrow. This is our national championship, the U.S. Open, but is it the best way to determine who the best golfer in the U.S. is? There's a debate about that. Or just for that 72 holes on 4 days in L.A. That's coming up tomorrow. Still a lot ahead. Plus, we'll get to Jordan Larson and the impact of her being hired by John Cook at 1620 The Zone.
All right, baseball back as we get everything started this weekend, and Templeton Rye is bringing a few of their all-stars of their own, whether it comes to tailgating or just maybe wanting to experience something as you make your way into Omaha at the Templeton Rye Distillery. However it is, enjoy Templeton Rye this weekend and every weekend. Templeton Rye has a history almost as rich as baseball itself, with a fire that was lit generations ago. Templeton Rye whiskey is for the strong-spirited, with the new bold look and the same great taste. Templeton Rye, again, with great combinations, always best enjoyed on its own. But if you're someone who's looking to get into the cocktail recipes, well, there's a lot for you. In fact, you can try, how about a Templeton Rye old-fashioned, maybe a Manhattan, Templeton Sour, and the Iowa Mule. You can go to TempletonDistillery.com to find more great recipes. And also, as I mentioned, you can visit the distillery as you're making your way into Omaha. Just a short drive outside of Omaha is Templeton, Iowa, and the distillery in Templeton, Iowa. Just a short drive outside. Again, they have open most days of the week. You can visit the new Templeton Distillery and learn the history of a local legacy and what goes into the distillery exclusive releases. Don't forget their all-star lineup, 4-year, 6-year, and the all-new 10-year reserve. Enjoy responsibly. Templeton Rye Spirits, Templeton, Iowa Rye Whiskey.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. The best way to catch all the action is on 1620 The Zone. And no line for the bathroom.
The cigar enthusiasts at Hearth Cigars and Pipes are a pretty diverse bunch of humans. Some enjoy an adult beverage or two, others pass the time with a competitive yet friendly game of dominoes. Still others enjoy shooting some pool downstairs, while more than a few are just satisfied with each other's company. The common thread with all of them is the awesomeness that is their favorite cigar from the humidor. Hearth Cigars and Pipes, just off the 48th Street exit from I-680 at the corner of Mormon Bridge Road and McKinley, and at hearthcigars.com.
No matter how dark it gets, there's always a sunrise, a warm bed, a warm meal, and hope. Sienna Francis House serves hope to those experiencing homelessness and addiction. Every day, we provide more than 1,000 meals and serve nearly 500 guests in our emergency shelter, Miracles Recovery Program, and supportive housing apartments, and help our guests navigate a path to permanent housing. Learn more at siennafrancis.org.
Whether you own a local business or a global one, you know that these days, generating growth is a challenge. By teaming with Bank of America, you'll not just stay ahead of the curve, you'll move it. With access to experts, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful, you'll make every move matter, locally and globally. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Copyright 2023 Bank of America, N.A.
Does eating at home have you singing the blues? Stop by Cobb's at the Shadow Lake Town Center, 180th and Center, or 72nd and Jones to grab a delicious pizza, burgers, fresh salad, and some tasty charred wings. They even offer keto crusts and an extensive variety of shareable appetizers. Dine in, carry out, or delivery. Cobb's, now with 3 convenient locations to serve you. Shadow Lake Town Center, 180th and Center, and 72nd and Jones. Click cobbspizza.com to see the menu, pizza, and so much more.
Are you ready for the biggest party of the year? Nickelback, the Get Rollin' Tour with Brantley Gilbert and Josh Ross. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Get rolling and get your tickets now.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right. Get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/radio. That's 4hims.com/radio for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
Your exclusive home for Royals baseball in Omaha.
Right up the middle, patient.
1620 The Zone.
Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Listen for the Templeton Rye Whiskey Spirit of the Day this week on Sportsmanlike Conduct. It could be someone doing something great or doing something crazy, as long as they are doing it with spirit. Brought to you by Templeton Rye Whiskey, whiskey for the strong-spirited.
So Pat Sajak
Yes.
announcing his retirement after 2024. Works 36 days. I thought it was 50. He works 36 days a year, makes $15 million.
And I went wrong in college.
I will fight Steve Harvey for that gig.
Yeah.
Or
Who
whoever
wouldn't?
else will be
Who
in line for
wouldn't?
it. $416,666 a day. And Vanna White, by the way, thought she's going to get fired.
Whoa. I'm still waiting for her to announce her retirement here coming up.
I guess there's the rumors are Sajak's daughter may be the host.
Oh.
Maggie Sajak.
Maggie Sajak.
And Vanna White would stay.
Okay. So there's some familiarity there.
Okay.
With the bloodline.
Oh, no Vanna in the portal.
Vanna keeps the smooth transition going there. And then you have a familiar last name. Wow.
Like they're going to bring, Chuck Woolery.
Oh!
Monty Hall.
Chuck's still with us, right?
He is.
Yeah.
Okay. Kind of.
Be back in 2 and 2.
The love connection.
Chuck got really political.
Yeah.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
I quit following Chuck after I quit watching Love Connection. I actually watched that when I was little.
Oh, watched it
one of
all
my
the
brothers
time.
and I watched it.
If he was in Omaha, he'd be a loyal Coil listener.
Oh.
2 and 2.
Back in 2 and 2.
Love
Kind
that.
of had the Jay Leno chin going. Yeah.
This is a good summertime discussion. The greatest game show host of all time.
I like this.
I mean, it's got to be Bob Barker.
I think it'd be Bob Barker and then Alex Trebek.
Yeah.
I'd throw out some love for Gene Rayburn. He's pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think you're probably looking at 1A and 1B when it comes to Barker and Trebek.
Yeah. Richard Dawson would have a tough time being a game
Yeah.
show host nowadays.
Yeah.
Just the fact that was like accepted.
My wife says that all the time. Like, how is that a thing?
Back then, you didn't even like hesitate.
No.
Now people are like, oh my God.
Yeah.
He's just kissing women.
Yeah. I mean,
on the mouth.
Now, Chuck sort of did too.
And he's in Hogan's Heroes.
Did not kiss Sub-Zero in The Running Man.
That's right. He was in The Running Man too.
Only in rerun.
Chuck Woolery, correct me if I'm wrong, it was maybe a simple little peck on the cheek when he would welcome in the female.
He hosted Scrabble as well. I don't know if he kissed
Chuck
anyone
Woolery
in
did?
that game. Yeah.
Okay. I'm trying to think if there's another one we're missing here. Obviously, Pat Sajak would be
Gene
up
Eubanks.
there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Who would be on the Mount Rushmore then? I think we named two for sure. Would Sajak make the Mount Rushmore?
He has a case. I mean, it's...
Yeah. I think definitely Barker and Alex Trebek. I don't think there's any question. That Chuck Woolery.
Thinking of all the times I've watched Buzzer.
Who was the guy that, it was sort of a game show. Double Dare.
Mark Summers.
Thank you. I knew it was a Mark. I kept wanting to say Mark Harmon. That's the actor. Former UCLA football legend as well, Mark Harmon.
You think Todd Newton should get some run?
Who's Todd Newton?
No whammies.
No.
Didn't amount to much after that.
What about like would like Regis get some run for Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
That's still on, right?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Who's the host now?
I don't even think it's Meredith anymore.
Yeah.
Probably it's like either Howie Mandel or Steve Harvey host every day.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. All right, coming up the next hour, Kirk Sarlos, baseball coach at TCU, will join us. Hat tip, by the way, to Tristan. We've talked about Flag Day.
Yeah.
This is also the Army's birthday.
Oh.
The U.S. Army turns 248 years old today.
Happy birthday, Army.
And for all the men and women that they were molded by being part of the Army, happy birthday, and thank you to all of us. You don't look a day over 50. Last hour's coming up next. Hey, FanDuel is here for you. Baseball season in full swing. No better place to get on all the MLB action than FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers, this is easy. You're going to get a no-sweat first bet up to $2,500. I'm shorting you. FanDuel says, hold on, Sharp. Give them what they want. $2,500 if you are a new customer. All you got to do, those are bonus bets. You get it back if your first bet doesn't win. All you have to do, go to FanDuel.com/zone. That's our promo code. You can join today.
And maybe you want that little A's hot streak to ride. Could be a bold prediction there, but either way, the best part about FanDuel is you get paid instantly. It's on a safe and secure app. No better place to bet America's pastime than on America's #1 sportsbook. So head over to FanDuel.com. Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app by going again to FanDuel.com/zone to pick up your no sweat first bet for $2,500. That's FanDuel.com/zone. 21 plus and present in Iowa. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Max bonus $25. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
More with Gary and Nick after this on 1620 The Zone. Live from the Host Coffee Studio. This is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Backlund Plumbing Time-Saving Traffic Center. We're getting reports of a disabled vehicle near 42nd and Center, so please be cautious if you're in that area. On Industrial Road, be prepared for a little bit of a delay near 138th Street. And on Dodge, be prepared for just a little bit of slowdown from 94th to 90th. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic was brought to you by Romeo's Mexican Food and Pizza.
Enjoy Romeo's Grande Pizza and Taco Combo. 1 large 2-topping pizza, 4 soft-shell tacos, chips, and queso dip for only $29.99. Only at Romeo's. Carry out only.
Romeo's Mexican Food and Pizza.
Not your typical restaurant.
Email us on the Equitable Bank inbox with whatever is on your mind. Zone Inbox is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. You can get me, Gary, at 1620thezone.com. We want to hear from you on the Equitable Bank Zone Inbox.
Acura of Omaha has more than 50 new Acuras in stock and ready for immediate delivery.
All models, including Integras, TLXs, RDXs, and MDXs. Get the best price in just minutes at AcuraofOmaha.com.
Let me get you up to speed on the service that you need.
At Omaha Transmission, we don't have a warehouse full of transmissions waiting to be sold. We will diagnose and then repair or remanufacture your transmission. It's how we've always done it and how we'll always do it. Treating people the way that we want to be treated is how we do business at Omaha Transmission.
Omaha Transmission, shifting to running smooth.
You never know who might be hiding a problem with sports betting because it can affect anyone. Dads, moms, teachers, lawyers, blue collar, white collar, PhDs, community heroes. But there's one thing we want you to know. It doesn't matter who you are. What does matter is getting help. Contact 1-800-BETS-OFF. No judgment, just help. Be number one at getting help.
Brought to you by the Iowa Department of Public Health and Heartland Family Service.
Time to wake up your taste buds. Introducing my new Fiesta Line Chicken Pizza. Spicy taco sauce, generous amounts of chicken, green peppers, onions, jalapenos, mounds of cheddar and mozzarella cheese, and finished with a tangy lime sprinkle. Add your favorite one-topping pizza and my sweet cinnamon monkey bread. Fiesta Feast. Now that's a fiesta for your mouth. Godfather's Pizza. Do it.
Tickets for less. Best seats, best prices, no per-ticket fees. Ticketsforless.com. KOZN Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone. And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
All right, poll question is up at 1620 The Zone. You might have trouble finding it. Should the Kansas City Royal fan do a real boycott now that they are 18-49?
Congratulations.
And the Oakland A's, who have won 7 in a row, are 19-50.
Winners of 8 in a row.
Can
they duplicate the 2002? I give 20.
And can the Royals do the 20 straight or 19 straight losses? They had no 5.
So, okay, this is more of a question for counter, though. Going back to the original question of the boycott. How do Royals fans feel about ownership? Because obviously that's a big part of the Oakland A's. I get when you suck, and that's not fun. But
I
feel like they're okay with
John Sherman.
Yeah,
This is a team that I don't think you thought on June 14th would be the worst in baseball. I mean, maybe because of the pitching, but they have a lot of issues. They just have. I mean, Scott Barlow, Aroldis Chapman, gone at the All-Star or at the trade deadline.
Yep.
Salvio stick around because he doesn't want to start over anywhere. Get 10-5. They're in a weird spot. They're going to have to. They have to spend a little money, but how attractive to a game-changing free agent is Kansas City?
Right.
Even with you could sell them on some young guys. I don't know. They're a major disappointment because I did not think that they would be this bad, and they're in danger if they don't beat the Reds tonight, which you can hear here on the Zone. They are going to lose 3 straight series. That'll be 9 straight losses, and they've got the Angels coming into town this weekend. I would just promote the heck out of Ohtani.
Yes, they're going to have
tickets on sale.
They
now.
will have butts and seats for that one. That's
Luxury suites on sale now.
All right, Kirk Saarloos is going to join us here in a little bit, the head baseball coach at TCU. Last night I listened in. So Jordan Larson, it was announced yesterday with the addition of the third assistant, John Cook could expand his staff, and he is doing just that. He is welcoming back Jordan Larson as a full-time. Now, she's going to continue to play because she wants to be in the Olympics in 24. Again, it's amazing at the age of 36. She's able to still play at that high level. I mean, that's when you get to be that age, to still be able to perform like she is. I mean, that's pretty damn impressive, but none of us are surprised. I mean, she's one of the best female athletes that the state has ever produced. So listening to her, it's almost coming full circle because I'm not sure what she really wanted to do. She was like in and out. She was at the end of her volleyball career. She wants to get into coaching, but she also kind of wants to still play. She's got, family to consider. and she finally found a home. It's like John Cook said, come home. You have some stability.
Mhm.
You have some closure now in your next life. While we, allow you to do basically both. You can start on your next career, and it's a great addition. So John Cook and Jalen Reyes are the recruiters, and they have to find a way when they make the transition. When John Cook, who's 67, is no longer the head coach, Jalen Reyes needs to stay. He is an incredible recruiter, but it's John Cook and Coach Reyes that are just dominating in recruiting. And it sounds like Jordan Larson's going to be brought in, and she'll be the development.
Mhm.
I mean, she's got an incredible skill set, and everybody knows who she is. Not only if you're in Nebraska, but outside. I mean, it's a really, really smart addition to let somebody start to grow in that role. She is not, and I know this always happens with that position because, John, who I don't think is going anywhere anytime soon, he's rejuvenated. Okay, who's going to be next?
Yeah.
It won't be Jordan Larson, would not be the number one candidate, but it's great for the program to bring her back into the fold. I will say that.
Yeah, and one thing that I do know about Jordan, friends with one of her closest friends from high school too, and this was always something that she always kind of had in the backseat of what she wanted to do going forward when it came to the game of volleyball and whether she could still compete at the international level at a very high level, however long that was going to last her. The thought of teaching the game, the thought of being able to help develop. So I think when people think, and it's not going to hurt recruiting, obviously, because especially knowing that you can point to recruits and be like, yeah, here, by the way, one of our assistant coaches, look what she's doing right now at the international level.
Look at her Olympic medals.
Exactly.
Hello.
Look at what she's done. So you don't even need to have Jordan Larson actively recruit. You can just point to her as an example, and here's someone that's going to develop you. But that's the key thing for her role. The best way I know it, and what she's very passionate about, is being able to teach and develop the game. And so I know she's come back to a lot of different high school camps. She goes back to her hometown a lot to help out there. I think at the collegiate level, you're going to initially have that type of respect, knowing the type of player that she was, both collegiately and at the international level. But then you see her be able to help teach, help develop, and make what is already a talented group, and you're going to continue to bring in these talented groups that might just be a little bit more raw and making that adjustment to the college game. It's hard to look at this and say that's not a win right there. That's not a major boost to this coaching staff. But you're absolutely right. For people who think, oh, I see what's going on here, this is the heir apparent. No.
So, John doesn't feel like it's at his end, and I think he's become rejuvenated. And also, he's looking forward to USC and UCLA being in the conference. I hope when he decides that, you know what, I've given everything I can to the University of Nebraska and volleyball, and, I just want to go and I want to be a grandpa and I want to live in my place in Wyoming, that they let him decide who is next. Because there's no way that he would leave the program. He's not going to leave the program in shambles. He will leave it in a really, really good spot. But the first, and I would assume the last phone call, is to Louisville and Denny Busboom Kelly. She's done it as an assistant. She, of course, now has done it as a head coach running her own program. Some people might not want to slide into those shoes that went from Terry Pettit to John Cook. She would be the most ideal candidate. And there will be others that are out there. You got a up-and-comer at Long Beach State who is now running his program. But that would be the first call. But I think they have enough respect that John would have a large voice, kind of like Terry Pettit did, to say, I know what this program needs. This is who you need. He's at Wisconsin right now. Go get him. That John, when down the road, again, I don't see an end anytime soon, like next year or anything like that, that he is given the ability to go, this is what the program needs to keep it going, because it's a beast. You got to keep feeding it. This is who it should be. It's also one of those things, as I listened to her yesterday and I thought about where that program is, there's something about, like, Nebraska volleyball is the standard in the sport. And think about that.
It's kind of cool.
Nebraska volleyball is the standard in their sport. They set the narrative in collegiate volleyball,
which is
that's we
appreciate it enough? I don't know if we appreciate that enough.
Probably not, because we're around it all the time. But that's a nice little mountain to be on top of.
And you get a little bit of the coaching tree going on, because you mentioned Hildebrand and obviously Busboom. So there's a little bit of whether it's the former players or just having other staffers that have gone on to lead other college volleyball programs. So you're making your mark, and then they're kind of planting their flags in different areas and different college programs that are seeing success right away too. So you've got that extension of John Cook as well. I mean, we could talk about the countless conference and national titles and what he's been able to do and how they continue to recruit. But there is that extension of him too, and of this program. And that's why I always say, like, when you've seen them kind of hit a lull in the season where maybe they're to their standard, again, they go on the standard struggling a little bit, I don't think anybody ever panics around them. And it's just a good feeling to have about a program that if you drop a set or you drop a match, maybe consecutive matches, I don't think anybody ever says, uh-oh. I think we're all like, oh, yeah, they're figuring things out, because it's the machine that is volleyball in Lincoln.
That's the best way to describe it, is a machine. I mean, their recruiting is absolutely off the rails. Like, they're dominating in recruiting in collegiate volleyball.
It's gotten better. The thing is, you think sometimes that gets stale a little bit, or other teams are able to catch up with you or be able to keep up with the Joneses and try to out Nebraska. They're always one or two steps ahead.
I think in recruiting, not only Jalen is a fantastic young coach, and he does a great job recruiting. But when you have the head coach that is a hammer, the guy that's running the program gets it done.
Yeah.
That's
not taking days off.
Nice spot to be in.
Yep.
But it sounded like John said, Jordan, let's figure it out. Your next journey, here you go. We have a spot. I know you've wanted a spot. We finally have it full time. Let's stop. Let's stop and let's move on to the next phase. When you're done playing, you've got a home. Yep. And that's what it kind of sounded like. And she sounded like at peace, and there's a comfort there because she knows what her future looks like. All right, Kirk Sarlos next. Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Gary Sharp, Nick Handley, and Jimmy Chavez. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Weekdays 6 to 10. On 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Mornings on 1620 The Zone is brought to you by MD West One Orthopedics, Neurosurgery, and Spine. Previously on The Crossover.
I pack a cooler for any possible excuse that I have.
Really?
I've packed a cooler at my house before to sit and watch March Madness.
Is this true?
Yes. I like getting a big old bag of ice and then, breaking up the ice.
This is a wild take.
No, it's not.
You buy big bags of ice just to sit in your living room and watch March Madness?
I have done that. I don't do it.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley. The Connor Happer Show. Unsportsmanlike conduct. 6A to 6P. 1620. The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast presented by Funplex Water Park and Rides from the KETV Newswatch 7 Weather Center on 1620 The Zone.
Heating up a bit more on Wednesday. Expect mostly sunny skies throughout the day. Winds remain light and variable. Dew points fairly comfortable as well, with highs climbing into the upper 80s. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV Newswatch 7.
Ever walk through a door and see all the trucks? Yeah, it's kind of like that at Gretna Auto Outlet. Half-ton trucks, three-quarter-ton trucks, dualies, gas or diesel. Gretna Auto Outlet will be happy to show it to you. They don't call it truck heaven for nothing, Stop in the climate-controlled comfort of the indoor showroom or online with the virtual showroom at GretnaAuto.com. Gretna Auto Outlet, open Sundays too, just north of Nebraska Crossing on Highway 6 in Gretna.
Switch to Cox Mobile and instantly save $200 on a new iPhone 14. So whether you're keeping up with your book club,
It all began in Manchester.
or sharing your latest recipe, you've got a plan that fits you based on the data you need. Switch today and instantly save $200 on a new iPhone 14 featuring the most impressive dual camera system on iPhone. The new Cox Mobile. We're different because you're different. Limited time offer for existing and new Cox Mobile lines. Prices exclude taxes and device activation. Other fees and charges are subject to change. Other terms and conditions apply. Learn more at cox.com/mobile.
Duck Defense Midwest makes your home healthier and improves the life of your HVAC system. So improve the health of your home and everyone in it. Go to cleanairradio.com for a special duct cleaning offer for Zone listeners. That's cleanairradio.com.
Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. EquitableOnline.com.
Now back to Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
All right, College World Series begins on Friday. 1 o'clock, Oral Roberts and TCU. And you can hear all the games right here on The Zone, the home of the College World Series, and also the home right now of TCU's elite pitching coach, one of the great pitch callers in the sport, the head coach of TCU, Kirk Saarloos. Coach, good morning. Congratulations on making it back here, and welcome to 1620 The Zone.
Appreciate it, guys. Super excited to we leave at, I think, at 2 o'clock to fly in, and there's no better day than today.
Hey, you've been here before with Schloss as an assistant, and now you bring this program back here as the first time as your head coach. So you're here 4 times. People at TCU, the expectations are pretty high. You're an extremely successful baseball program. Do you have some times where you have to look at people and go, that say, hey, coach, how come you're not in Omaha every year? How difficult is it to get to Omaha every season?
You know what? It's so hard. I think, people, we went 4 years in a row, and I think people took it for granted where it's like, death taxes and TCU going to Omaha in June. And it's really hard. And, I think the last, 5 years, 6 years, I think they've realized, and, we've realized a little bit too. I mean, we took it for granted as a coaching staff and as a program, maybe a little bit too, where, it just seemed easy. But there's a lot of luck involved. Obviously, there's a lot of skill and talent. But there's a lot of luck involved too, in getting to Omaha. And, I think getting back there is just a testament to our program and our fan base and our administration.
We were asking Jay Johnson about this yesterday, and for someone who's experienced it, who's been here before, you win the Super Regional, you got a couple of days to kind of get everything in line, and then, as you mentioned, you're traveling out here today. What are those days like, and how much of the recent routine that you've experienced do you try to sort of impose on the guys to allow them to enjoy this experience, but also to continue to sharpen that competitive edge?
You know what? We had, we got it done on Saturday, and we were able to take a full day off and kind of just hang out. I laid on the couch and just literally watched, Super Regional baseball and as a fan, on TV. And that was really nice to be able to do that and not have any stress of a baseball game or a game 3. But our guys, I think, they took advantage of the day off on Sunday, and really it was business as usual when it came to Monday. I mean, there was no, hangover effect or anything. I think guys we were back in our routine of going to work, and it was just like another day of practice, and, yesterday as well. And now obviously today is going to be a little bit different. There's nothing better than getting on a plane and, landing in Omaha and hopping on the bus and going straight to the ballpark and watching guys, faces, when they get out there on the field for the first time is priceless.
Kirk Saarloos, head baseball coach at TCU, joining us. People will look at your recent run, and a lot of people around here were watching the Arkansas Regional, and they go, man, TCU is the hottest team in the country. They've won 11 in a row, 17 of 18. They're unbeaten in the postseason.
Hey, do you want to come out for Ray's birthday breakfast?
Sorry. We're going. It's my son's 16th birthday. We're going out as a family for breakfast. So you heard my wife.
Are we invited to this? I don't know. Is she inviting us?
Absolutely. We're going to Yogi's if you want to come. All right. Yeah, here in Fort Worth.
That is great. First of all, congratulations. So it has not been this recent run. So take me back, because I heard a couple of your players say, man, we were just sick and tired. Take me back to the Sunday at the end of April in Austin, where you're on a little bit of a skid. You have the second game of that series, you lose a 1-run game, and people are going, man, TCU, preseason favorite in the Big 12. You're 23-20, coach. You're 7-10 in the league. What's going on? I heard your players say, we were just sick and tired. At what point did you become sick and tired of how you're performing, underperforming, that all of a sudden the next day you put up a 15 spot against Texas at home and you've been rolling since?
Yeah, I mean, I think it comes down to, we have competitive kids in our locker room, and we hadn't, we would pitch well and then wouldn't hit. We would hit well and then wouldn't pitch. We didn't really put it together. We put it together on the first weekend of the year. But really, after that, we just were kind of inconsistent. And really, it came down to, getting a consistent weekend rotation, getting guys in their roles in the bullpen, and then getting a consistent 9-man lineup of guys that are confident and not trying to do too much. And it came down to, I think our players just saying, we're better than this. And you know what, we've backed ourselves into this corner and we got to figure a way to get out of it. And so, we've been playing playoff baseball for 6 weeks now. And I think that plays, a lot of times when you're going to a regional and you're going to be a host and you're going to be a national seed, you may take a couple days off. Our guys haven't taken a day off in terms of, their work ethic and their grit and their determination. And, I think it shows. And I'm really excited because really, the regional and the super regional are no different than the last 6 weeks have been. Mm-hmm. And I'm excited to watch them do the exact same thing in Omaha.
And you just lay out season adversity right there and how the players are taking ownership to that and kind of taking it upon themselves. How well does that serve a team? With your experience, how well does that serve a team going into what you're about to embark on this weekend, where those games, the heart rate, the elevated heart rate, all that stuff is a big part of it, but you could see a couple of innings go sideways. But as we know, with aluminum bats, you're never out of it too. Going through that season adversity, is that something you feel that will serve this team very well this weekend?
Absolutely. I think I've seen a ton of growth in terms of leadership on this team, whether it be juniors, seniors, and even our freshman class. And it's really fun when we had one inning go sideways on us in Arkansas, and I was going to walk down the dugout and say a couple words to the team as they were coming off the field, just encouraging them. And about 3 guys ran in off the field and said exactly what I was going to say. So I just kept on walking down the dugout to the water cooler and didn't say a thing. And so, I think the toughest part about Omaha is the distractions. And, because it's a tournament, but it's a tournament where you have a lot of off days and there's a lot of distractions. And I'm really excited that this group has matured as a team, that they're going to be able to handle those distractions and be able to be ready to play, when the umpire says play ball. So I'm looking forward to watching them play.
You got a really, really good team. I want you to tell us the story of Braden Taylor, which I think is a direct reflection on you, Kirk, and your program and how you develop players. When you first meet this kid out of Utah, and he's 5'10", and I've heard the story that soaking wet, he's 145 pounds. When you meet him, when he's hanging out at the Marriott in downtown Fort Worth, when you meet him on his recruiting visit, to where you're going to send him off to the majors is, I think, the first position player, first round pick at TCU, and the way he's hitting the ball and then hitting the ball out of the ballpark. Walk us through how he developed under his 3 years in Fort Worth.
Yeah, you're exactly accurate. He might have been 147. We'll give him 147. But yeah, I mean, he just came in and he worked super hard with our strength coach, Coach Dakent, and our nutritionist, and the baseball stuff. He was always had great bat to ball skills, and but the physical portion of it. I mean, he's our career home run leader at TCU. And if you would have told me that on his official visit, when, like you said, 5'10", maybe 5'11", 147 pounds, I would have said no way. But he's just kind of every single year he just gets a little bit better and a little bit better, and the biggest thing is he has the consistency. Mm-hmm. You don't become a career home run king at TCU by luck. You do it by being consistent for 3 years. So, it's been fun to watch, and it's been the same guy literally every single day on campus. He's been the same guy, whether it's the first day as a freshman or the last day here as a junior. He's been the same guy, and it's awesome to see your arguably your best player also be your most favorite player. Yeah. And that's what he is to his teammates. They love him, and they couldn't be more excited in terms of all the things that have come upon him now and will come in the next couple of months and years.
We know that, he's setting the tone in these big series too. He's huge on the mound. And Cole Klecker, just from a mentality standpoint, Coach, the way that he approaches the game, the way that he's approached everything this season, when you need to give the guy the baseball in a big time situation, what stands out about just his approach?
Well, he's our youngest freshman. He's our youngest player on our team. He just turned 18 a couple months ago. But he's very, very mature beyond his years. And, he really prides himself on preparation, the mental game, slowing it down. And, that's what you want out of a guy that's going to take the ball in big situations, is a guy that, has control over himself. And that's what he does. I think that's his best attribute, is the fact that, he's super sharp mentally. And, if you're in control of yourself, you have a decent chance of being in control of your outcome. So it's pretty fun to watch a freshman. I think it's our first 10-game winner as a freshman since Matt Perk back in 2010, who won 16, pretty decent freshman year. But obviously Cole is, freshman All-American and has done great things, and super excited for his future and his career at TCU.
Hey, Kirk, we appreciate the time. Enjoy the birthday party today, and safe travels here to Omaha. We'll see you on Friday.
You bet, guys. Can't wait.
That's Kirk Sarlos, head baseball coach at TCU. He was the pitching coach. Long rumor that he was going to get a gig on the West Coast. He's a Fullerton guy. And Schlossnagel, which some people were surprised, but maybe not, because TCU or Texas A&M has more money than God, according to Jimbo. They hire him away. And, if you have a program like TCU, the athletic director might go, national search, baby. We can get whoever we want.
Yeah.
When your best candidate was sitting right next to your head coach in the dugout, and they promote him, and they haven't missed a beat. They had the best record in the Big 12 last year. They lost in the tournament. This year, they got on a run late. They won the tournament, and they haven't lost in the postseason. So they made the right hire, again, at an athletic program that has had a great year. Football plays for the national championship. Men's basketball goes to Sweet 16?
Round of 32 at least. Were they in Sweet 16? I know they won.
I don't think they were Sweet 16.
They won at least one game. I know that.
And then baseball's in the College World Series.
Yeah.
So you can have let's have a little debate here.
All hail the Hypnotoad.
The Toad Omaha.
So TCU has had an incredible year athletically. But what about Tennessee? Tennessee played in a New Year's Six bowl game.
Yep.
Both their men's and women's basketball programs were Sweet 16. Baseball is in the College World Series.
Yeah, I'm going to give the slight edge to Tennessee there. Absolutely. And remember where Tennessee football was coming out of. They are kind of fighting similar demons that Nebraska has been for a while too. And then finally being able to get that breakthrough season. And, basketball, not a huge surprise. But with baseball now, a year ago, they were in the spot of the team. They fall short. This year they get there. Yeah, I would say you give a slight edge to Tennessee, but what TCU's done playing in the national championship for a team that, quite frankly, we talk about Michigan and what they didn't do, but TCU, they played their part as well. So I would still maybe say Tennessee a little bit, the slight edge too.
I hope I'm here for a long time, knock on wood. Jimmy, do you think in our lifetime we will see the University of Nebraska pull off that feat? Bowl, New Year's Six, men's, women's basketball, Sweet 16, baseball, College World Series.
No. Football, they'll be there. Basketball, one of them could.
I mean, you can make a case that Amy Williams, whoever's coaching Nebraska women, there's history to make it to the Sweet 16.
Sure.
The men have never won an NCAA game.
Right. That would just be awesome to see in itself. And baseball, I mean,
I just don't know. I don't think.
Okay.
There's history.
Let's play a little hypothetical here. Okay.
I don't love the idea.
Would a men's basketball trip to the Sweet 16 trump a football trip to the New Year's Six bowl games?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would.
I mean, they've never won a tournament game.
It absolutely would.
That would be one of the coolest stories that you could
think about, that round
even
of
have.
32 victory. Because in a way, you're cutting down nets, you're celebrating like you have won the regional final as well. That week leading up to the Sweet 16 game too would be nuts.
Oh, it'd be great.
Nebraska ball fever would be at an all-time high.
84-year-old Kent Pavelka would be calling his first NCAA win.
Yep. And then to be able to say the Huskers are going to the Sweet 16, whatever clever way to describe that. Oh, yeah.
With a case of his Kincaid beer.
Okay, will we see, and we already have, so we're waiting on one. I'm going to use Creighton. Men and women, Sweet 16. Let's go a step further. They both have made it to the Elite Eight in back-to-back years.
Mm-hmm.
Let's keep them in the Elite Eight. Creighton Baseball College World Series. So it's 1991's you do the math, that's 32 years ago. The Creighton Baseball. And by the way, Jim Henry's son works for TCU, I believe.
Yeah.
Will that happen again at Creighton?
So
because Elite Eight in both men and women's basketball, I can see.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I can see sooner than later. But
Baseball.
could you add a College World Series?
No.
Okay.
I do not like that conference.
Any chance that Omaha hockey Frozen Four men's basketball NCAA tournament?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can see that.
I could see that.
All right. I stopped. I didn't say a win in the tournament.
Right.
Just get
into
there.
the tournament in the same year.
What was the year that? What was the Tradeon Holland shot? What year was that?
That was the year after.
Okay, because that was I was going to say that was
Yeah.
pretty close to when hockey made the Frozen Four and basketball was on the cusp, a shot away.
Hell of a year for TCU. Hell of a year for Tennessee.
Yeah.
And we're invited to breakfast.
It sounded like she actually grabbed the phone and invited us to
I
breakfast.
thought we were getting like our signals crossed. Please don't. In my head, I'm like, please don't say anything. Please don't say anything.
Thought it was what happened to Connor the one day.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
was
We're
spooky.
going to take some time off. We'll be at Yogi's for breakfast
Yeah,
to
we're gonna go
celebrate
catch a flight real
Kurt's
quick.
16-year-old son. All right, quick break. Come back. Joining us in a little bit will be Brandon Vogel on Mornings with Sharp and Handley at 1620 The Zone. All right, Templeton Rye. You know, you've been hearing us talk about it. It is the whiskey for the strong-spirited, and there's going to be a lot of strong spirits here in Omaha for the big college baseball championship beginning on Friday. And as you make your way through the parking lots and the tailgates, trust me, you're going to see some Templeton Rye fans that are coming here and locals. They know how to celebrate, and they'll celebrate with the whiskey for the strong-spirited, which is Templeton Rye. Now, you might find the 4-year, the 6-year, or the 10-year reserve. It is a whiskey that is a home run all around. Now, the best way to learn about Templeton Rye, go to their Instagram page, or better yet, and for everybody that's in town, make the short drive outside of Omaha to Templeton, Iowa to check out their on-site distillery. Enjoy responsibly. Templeton Rye Spirits. Make sure you have those at your tailgate. Templeton, Iowa Rye Whiskey.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com with Gary Sharp and Nick Handley. Big names, big games. We've got them all. 1620 The Zone.
DQ presents how to get the most from your next DQ treat run. Step 1, grab the new Oreo Brookie Blizzard. Step 2, dig in. That's it, because this triple-decker treat has brownie and cookie brookie pieces, plus Oreo pieces. Oh, that's a mouthful of DQ goodness in every red spoonful. Guess it's time for a treat run, because the Oreo Brookie Blizzard is here for a limited time, only at DQ. Happy tastes good.
You never know who might be hiding a problem with sports betting because it can affect anyone. Dads, moms, teachers, lawyers, blue collar, white collar, PhDs, community heroes. But there's one thing we want you to know. It doesn't matter who you are. What does matter is getting help. Contact 1-800-BETS-OFF. No judgment, just help. Be number one at getting help.
Brought to you by the Iowa Department of Public Health and Heartland Family Service.
What's up? It's a Target trend alert. New swim has just arrived and it's sunny weather approved.
If you're into bikinis or one pieces, high waists or cutouts, they're the perfect combo of trendy, flattering, and affordable.
That's right. And there are so many cool styles with gorgeous details. These suits have macrame, crochet, wood beads, pretty shells, and more. Totally a luxe for less vibe.
Yeah, so dive in and shop this Target trend without the spend.
Fun fact, did you know gorillas burp when they're happy? Really? I'm glad humans don't have that issue, as it would create some awkward moments. Dave and Ryan Osted here with Osted's Golf. Looking for your happiness on the course? Book your fitting appointment today with Osted's, the nation's top 100 fitter from Callaway, Ping, Mizuno, and Golf Digest.
Why get fit? On average, golfers gain 19 yards off the tee and drop their handicap by 10%.
Wow, results like that will make any golfer happy.
Stop in today or book your appointment on Osteds.com. All burps will be taken as a compliment.
At the Rib Shack Smokehouse, you have the best of both worlds, barbecue and soul food. We're open Tuesday through Thursday from 11 to 9 p.m., Friday and Saturday from 11 to 10, and on Sundays from noon to 8 p.m. Let us cater your next event or dine in and enjoy our delicious ribs, fried catfish, collard greens, and so much more. Don't feel like leaving the house? Then get your food delivered through DoorDash or call for takeout orders at 402-502-6695. Welcome to the Rib Shack.
Hey everyone, Josh Peterson here for my friends at Kugler Vision. Let us talk about the 3 most surprising things about modern LASIK at Kugler Vision. The first, how fast that LASIK procedure is. With Kugler Vision's leading edge technology, we're talking just a few minutes per eye. Incredibly speedy. And how about this for number 2? How comfortable the procedure is. So often from their patients, they hear, wait, that's it? It's over? They make sure that you're relaxed and comfortable, as well as knowing exactly what is happening. And this, for number 3, how quickly you can get back to normal life. Patients typically drive themselves to Kugler Vision the very next day for their follow-up visit. So you're back in action less than 24 hours later. Kugler Vision right now, they have special pre-summer savings on modern LASIK or any of their other advanced vision correction procedures. If you've ever thought about fixing your bad vision, the Kugler Vision Eye Analysis is your first step. Do so today. Schedule one online at kuglervision.com.
Attention sales professionals. NRG Media is looking for an accomplished business-to-business salesperson who wants to take their success and skills to a new level. Is this you? Our account executives work with local businesses to create marketing plans to help them get more customers. On air, digital, on-site, audio, video, it's all part of what you could sell. A sales career with NRG lets you make a real difference. Get more info and apply online at nrgmedia.com. NRG Media is an equal opportunity employer.
PACE, Police Athletics for Community Engagement Organization, is dedicated to preventing at-risk and disadvantaged inner-city children from becoming involved in street gangs, crime, drug use, and victimization. Last year, PACE served over 5,000 area kids with wholesome competition and free participation in soccer, baseball, CrossFit, and flag football. To help PACE and local families make sure kids have access to safe and fun spring and summer activities, please go to paceomaha.org to support the PACE mission. Thank you.
And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
All right, let's welcome in our good friend from HailVarsity.com, Hail Varsity the magazine. Also, him and his lovely wife and their family with Max, his son. There is another one that is on the way. So we wish you congratulations and good luck and the excitement that is going to come with the next edition of the Vogel family here is it in the next week or so?
Friday at noon. This is
no, it's planned.
Scheduled deals.
All right.
So yeah. So which is mighty convenient. At least I know exactly how little time I have to get all of the things I need to get ready. But I suppose that's better than not knowing.
Okay, so how is Mom and Max doing?
They're doing well. Max is turned 2 at the end of April, and he's just kind of been a pretty happy guy. I don't know if he knows the storm that is coming for him. We're trying to prepare him, but so far he's doing all right.
All right, you ready to be a girl dad?
I am. I'm really excited. Okay. So I think that's gonna be pretty cool. So let's do it. Ready for Friday to get here.
All right. So actually, I think you've already done it.
So now that you're a veteran, when it comes to the one thing that as parents, especially as dads, that our body did not go through what the wife went through, the sleep part of it. What did you learn the first time that you can apply now this time around?
Try and sneak it in wherever you can. I mean, there's just so much to do in terms of like keeping the house clean and all of those things. Yeah. It becomes easy to be like, I got all these other things to do. And no, sleeping kind of becomes the most important thing you can do for at least a little bit there in the immediate weeks after. Yeah. So I'll try and get better at that. I'm not somebody who falls asleep easily, which is an issue.
Brandon Vogel joining us. Yesterday in Lincoln, they had the fullback camp. which they've made a commitment to the fullback. Then they offered a kid from Wahoo Newman who essentially would play fullback in college. And, that position is special to Nebraskans because we all kind of can rattle off our favorite fullback, whether you go all the way back to Tom Rathman, Roger Craig, Schlesinger, Makovica, even further back, Andre Franklin, Judd Davies, we've Janovich. We all have like our favorite fullback. But help me here. Nebraska says the fullback is back, but football says it's not. High schools in Nebraska say, we don't really have a fullback. How is the fullback going to work at Nebraska? Is it going to be Bonner types that'll be converted, or how do you see the idea actually coming to fruition?
I would guess it'll be maybe a little bit less severe than the Bonner move. I mean, when you look at him, you can see it, and you're like, okay, that makes sense. It's kind of a hybrid, given that you had none on the roster when you showed up. But I think going forward, there's probably not a ton of high schools out there that are running a fullback type of offense, one where you even have a traditional one. But I kind of look at tight end and the type of tight ends Nebraska, the state, has been producing of late, and say, well, if you got those guys, are there other guys out there who might only be, say, 6 foot or, probably a little undersized to be a tight end with some similar skill set? So I think you could look at that. I mean, in a lot of ways, one of the names you mentioned, I think if they found Andy Janovich tomorrow, they'd probably be ecstatic. And boy, would it be fun to see him with, I think, what this coaching staff plans to use that position for.
Yeah, and the plan, I think, is what's interesting about these fullback camps, because I think of right now trying to have that traditional thinking of fullbacks the way we knew them, and maybe how they're going to be best utilized in this system and going forward in any program that's going to utilize one, is the overall athlete that has some size, a guy that is going to be able to catch a few passes, a guy that can line up in the slot and then shift into a fullback type setting. Like, I mean, is that where we feel like, especially these camps going forward, that is going to be something that's really coveted by this coaching staff?
I think so. I mean, I think all of the things you just described, you're kind of looking for guys who, athletically you can project to Power 5 football, but you're also looking for just your football players, guys that, maybe they're not quite as fast as you'd love to see or quite as big, but you see them out there on the field and it's somewhat undeniable. So, I mean, like, high school linebackers are probably going to get into this. Our writer.
No.
What he saw, but I'm pretty interested. Yeah, I'm a fullback. Look at my high school roster. Like, who's getting it? Who's coming? And what are they being told? Like, say, sure, show up. You can be a fullback. We can see it. So you're just going to have to be a little bit creative with it, I think, from Nebraska's perspective. And having a camp specifically devoted to this, I think, really kind of the first step.
The NFL has said, no, we got no money. We got no spots for you. I wonder, the person that says, man, I want to play fullback, they're thinking, I want to play fullback in college. I know that maybe down the road in the NFL, it's not going to work out for me. But there's the other part of the fullback position and saying that you're going to commit to it. Special teams, saying you're going to commit to it, where you add a full-time coach. You are now have, with a scholarship committed in the class of 24, 5 special team scholarship guys. Fullback, they say, we're going to have a camp. We're going to do it. They show us in the spring with Bonner, and then they offer an in-state kid who is being recruited as a fullback. What do you think that does when this staff makes a promise and then, Brandon, they follow through on it with a commitment to actually do what they were saying, whether it be a scholarship offer or how they're going to run the ball, and they'll run it with a quote-unquote fullback?
Oh, well, I think every time you're able to do that, it gains you points locally. And when I look at that position, it is one that I would expect to be pretty local most of the time. And I think maybe that's a way that you can the NFL point that you brought up is a real one, and can be sort of a difficult conversation to have. But how many people are there out there, and none of us know that their dream, particularly if you're somebody from, say, Wahoo Newman or anywhere else in the state, where like your real dream is you want to play for Nebraska, and here, maybe you don't play fullback in high school, or maybe you're a running back or whatever. That allows you to get there. Of course, everybody wants to envision themselves as doing whatever they choose to do at the highest level possible. But I think there's a way forward here for Nebraska, and making an offer out of your first camp certainly helps.
Yeah, and speaking of offers too, and just kind of looking at this time of the year where you've got a lot of guys coming in, you're going to look at specific positions and what these camps entail. How active do you kind of envision this month of June here for Nebraska and the coaching staff, and especially for that 25 recruiting class?
Yeah, I would expect to see, even a little more action sort of further out. So for that 2025 class, when you're a new coaching staff in the current college football calendar, it's hard enough to put to bed that first class, which isn't even really yours to a degree. But I think it's even still hard to catch up on your next class. So 2 years out kind of becomes your chance to be like, okay, this is fully our stamp. Well, not fully our stamp, but you can see whatever strategy we're trying to employ, we're getting there. And I would expect Nebraska to cast a pretty wide net for 2025. I think you always have to at Nebraska, and see what discussion and what living rooms you're allowed in. Doesn't hurt anything other than the coach's sleep schedule.
Brandon Vogel from Hail Varsity joining us. This is just an observation, and maybe I am off, because I was reading some stuff the other day, and as Rule has made his rounds, he talks a lot about Jeff Sims. He talks a lot about the offense. But if you go back, when they started to turn it around at Baylor, it appeared more to me that his defense was the reason they turned it around. They forced a bunch of mistakes. They were able to get off the field in key spots. If they turn it around here, is it because of the offense or the defense?
I think,
because what I'm asking, I don't know. I don't hear Rule talk a lot about defense. He doesn't ignore it.
Yeah.
But he doesn't talk about it as much as he talks about his offense.
Yeah, and it's interesting coming from him too, because he is a coach who, as an assistant, has spent time on both sides of the ball. And as a player, from high school to what he ended up doing as a walk-on at Penn State, spent time on both sides of the ball. Like, he has a really interesting kind of coaching resume, aside from the big ticket items like turning Baylor around, making Temple a consistent winner. I think long term, if this version of Nebraska is to get closer to the best version of Nebraska that we all remember, it probably is based on offense. I almost think it has to be in today's college football. I'm like, if you're going to be Georgia, sure, you can just throw out your insane collection of talent, or Alabama. We've seen it there too. Just stonewall people, but it's really hard. You really got to recruit at an extreme level, I think, in terms of athletic ability and talent to do that. Offensively, it's a little more of a chess match. So I would say the best chance for Nebraska to quickly turn things around is if that Tony White defense is, you kind of see what we've been told about it and what we can see for ourselves on watching old Syracuse film. That 2019 Baylor team, and just pulled it up, had 30 takeaways. They're plus 11. So if you do that, 30 takeaways over 42 a game, it's been a long time since that's been the case in Nebraska.
Yeah, we've talked about this a lot, about hiring trends. Like, defense wins championships, but offense has put butts in seats. And we look at trends of coaches that are being hired. Like the year Scott Frost was hired, you look at all the new hirees throughout college football, whether they move from one good job to another, it was predominantly offense. That's why when I think about this, and this leads to a little bit different conversation of where they have been with Jeff Brom to Ryan Walters, I think is a fascinating experiment. And I wonder if teams look at and go, man, defense is the way to get our feet on the ground first and then take off with offense to chase a championship.
Yeah, and I think that's even if you're a Big Ten team trying to select a new coach becomes even a bigger part of the conversation because, well, we just watched it work at Illinois, and thus Ryan Walters is the head coach at Purdue, which is, like, when you consider where they were under Brom, one of the more fascinating kind of flips of the offseason for a team under a first-year head coach. And, you know, when I was kind of looking at Purdue, getting ready for offseason stuff in January, I was like, this is just a lot. They lose, you know, a good amount of the defense last year, which was pretty good. But, like, the only team I think could be pretty dangerous, particularly if Hudson Card, a really good quarterback, of course, that we remember from Texas, is kind of what he's built to be. So it seems like a lot to go from Brom to a defense first head coach, but they might be in a pretty good spot. And it does feel in college football more broadly a little bit like a contrarian strategy, which is always interesting.
Yeah. Brandon, congratulations to you and the family. I know it'll be a couple of weeks until we talk to you again. So good luck to everybody at noon on Friday, and congratulations to Mom, Max, and the entire Vogel family.
I appreciate it, guys. Have a good CWS.
That's Brandon Vogel from Hale Varsity. I'll have a little girl that will be joining the family on Friday. She'll come out of the womb, and she'll be spitting out analytics.
Yep.
I got numbers for you. So Nebraska, they were 0-8 against FBS teams that ran for 125 or more last year. They are, in the last 2 years, 0-13 when allowing more than 175 yards on the ground. Now, that's almost a no-brainer. You give up 175 yards rushing, man, unless you got an offense that is scoring 43 and you're giving up 41. But, I mean,
or an offense that alongside 175 yards cannot throw the ball for more than 10 yards.
And up front is they got some questions. So, all right, good show, everybody. Tomorrow we will give our picks for the U.S. Open. Plus, we'll be a day closer to the College World Series. We can get a great debate. Should they reseed the College World Series field when they get to Omaha?
Oh,
Big Orange Nation is coming. Tony Vitello. They've been humbled. If they were here last year, if they would have made it on that run as the number one team in the country, it'd been obnoxious and people would hate Tennessee.
Yep, it'd be a pimping home run fest.
Could Tennessee be humble?
A little bit. Maybe until they get to the big stage. And then it's Tennessee. Then a little flair from a year ago.
Bat spikes greater than bat flips.
I agree.
For Jimmy, for Nick, I'm Gary. For Kirk Sarlos, baseball coach at TCU, Brandon Vogel. Also, our good friend Matt Rudy from Golf Digest. All the segments up on the radio replay page. Have a great Wednesday. Crossovers coming up next. We'll talk to you tomorrow at 6.
Live from the host